pardon and Biden pardoning all these other people, but then you're going to turn around and pardon people that went in the Capitol, beat police, destroyed the property, and y'all still trying to make it seem like what you sat down and saw with your own eyes did not exist. I don't understand how people sat up and watched that, and because Tucker Carlson come out and show you the beginning of when it happened before they struck out and acted a fool, you believe Tucker Carlson over your own eyes.
Well, I can respond to that. The reason why I think they believe Tucker Carlson over their own eyes is because that's really the only footage they watch. Most of the other footage came out either on the day or it came out from the January 6th hearings committee. They're not watching any of that, or it's on.
Like you were saying about Fox 6. Fox 6 didn't show all what went on. So the ones that watch Fox 6, they actually didn't sit down and watch everything that played out. I sat in front of the TV that day and watched it from the beginning to the end. And you cannot convince me that them folks went in there with a cheese sandwich and a lunchbox and was on some type of tour through the Capitol.
Well, and I've said many times in regards to it being a tour or something like that, you can go to a lot of national monuments all over America. You never get a tour that is given by armed police officers. That's not how a tour. I mean, not to mention we know half of the building was being overran, and their walkie-talkies were undoubtedly screaming with other officers claiming they need backup or whatever. Why would you give a tour in the middle of that? That makes no sense at all. Yeah, the tour thing is but like I said, if you're only watching it from right-wing media, all of the really awful stuff, they're not going to cover it.
They're not going to cover it. They're not, because they're whitewashing. And I think that's sad that they're allowed to mislead people like that, because that's why a lot of people call other people lies when they bring up stuff that happened, because they didn't see it, because they watching a station that's not going to show it.
Yeah. But
and it's kind of sad, Handsome, because I think everybody should watch both sides of the media so you can get the full picture of the whole, of what happened. It's like, I'm to be honest, Handsome, I'm really sad.
Well, and you're not the.
Where's the executive order for the eggs? Because I went to the store and they were still high. Where's the executive order for the gas? Because I went to the gas station and what was on, the amount that it was day before yesterday is still that same amount, Handsome. Where is the end to the Ukraine war that was going to be over? Because he took the credit for the peace to ceasefire. And when they asked him, was he confident that he could, all three phases.
You tell me, wait. Let's ceasefire. You talking about Israel and Hamas?
Yes.
Okay.
They asked him yesterday, or was it today? Either way, it was today or yesterday. They asked him, are you confident that you can keep this ceasefire in place? He said, I'm not confident. It's not our war, it's their war. And then he started talking about how beautiful the land in Gaza was and how it would be beautiful property and it's got to be rebuilt. And, we've gotten rid of the leaders. Oh, there were some terrible leaders, but that's a beautiful strip of land. And there's a lot of things that could be done with that land. He said that out his own.
What do you think he's trying to do? Claim him and Israel is trying to.
My thing is this. If you say you was the reason the ceasefire went on, why can't you finish with the rest of it? Since you was responsible for the ceasefire, you should have all the confidence in the world because it was your plan for the ceasefire. They were scared of you. You told them that before you get in, it better be over.
Yeah,
but now you saying you're not even confident that the three phases will even go through because it's not our war, it's theirs. That's what you say.
Well, let me ask you though, do you give him any credit for the ceasefire?
I don't give him no credit.
I mean, because he did say if...
I don't give him no credit.
No credit at all, huh?
I don't care nothing about no bottles in the chat. That don't move me. I'm not a baby. I'm not crying. My tear ducts are not inside out, so you don't see no tears coming out my eyes. I'm a person that lives in reality, that is not soaking up the smells of a man who puts his pants on one leg at a time like me. Y'all worship Donald Trump. I'm glad the evangelical lady got him today in church.
Wow, that was a hell of a thing when she started.
That's what they supposed to do as believers, and they supposed to be honoring the Lord. They supposed to call out your wrongs.
Yeah.
I'm thankful that she did that.
Well, he certainly made it clear he was not happy with that, because they asked him.
I know he wasn't. Nobody's happy when they hear the truth about themselves. You didn't put your hand on the Bible yesterday, so what you swore on? Your good graces?
Yeah, but I don't, I really don't think that, America cares if Trump is Christian or not. I mean, because
they don't care.
Yeah, he's made it.
That's my point. My point is stop calling him what he is not. Just say you love the man no matter what he is.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's safe to say, because, I think he's given plenty of indication that he's not really Christian, and it doesn't really matter.
What time eggs gonna go down?
You gotta get a guy more than 2 days to bring down the price of eggs.
He said day one. He said day one. Where's the executive order for the eggs to go down, handsome?
Let me make sure I'm getting this clear. Did you actually believed that within 24 hours of him being in office?
I believe everything he said, because he said it, handsome. So I went to Walmart and I said, listen, I'm finna buy a lot of eggs because they're gonna be cheaper today. I got my light bill. I said, I can't wait to open it because I know it's half of what I've been paying. And then I went on and got gas, because I knew the gas was going to be cut in half. But handsome, none of that happened.
So what are you?
I was very disappointed.
So what are you trying to indicate? That right now he's a failure in his first day of presidency?
Absolutely.
Let me ask you this, Takesha. Is there anything that Trump could do to win you over?
No.
Nothing at all?
Nothing.
If he really did bring down the price of gas and eggs and all this other stuff,
that wouldn't move me at all.
So what does it take to make Takesha happy?
Nothing. Let me tell you something, handsome. And I'm going to say this, and I don't care who gets mad. I'm a believer in Christ. And he ain't never told me that I had to dance with the devil to get my needs met, because God takes care of me.
Wait. Are you really conflating?
I don't care if Donald Trump in the White House. I don't care if Joe Biden in the White House. I didn't care if Kamala Harris in the White House. Now one of them takes care of Kiki. My dependency is on the Lord. When I pray and ask for my blessings, I ain't praying to now one of them.
I hear all that, but Takesha, you said dance with the devil. Are you trying to indicate that Trump? You sound like you comparing Trump to the devil.
You want me to pull out my Bible and read you what the attributes of the Antichrist?
What attributes can you attribute to the Antichrist that also applies to Donald J. Trump?
He's prideful. That's the first one.
He's
very
prideful.
What?
You said prideful?
Pride,
okay.
Full of pride. He's full of pride. He's a manipulator. Look at all these folks that's running behind him, believing everything he said. They don't trust nothing but what he says.
Yeah, there's a lot of folks
He's fooling the very elect of them. He drawing them in, handsome. The people, I know some of the people that's drawn in have shocked you.
Yeah, I get some interesting callers. I will admit, I get some interesting callers.
The Antichrist is a deceiver.
Antichrist, though, Takesha?
The Antichrist gonna swear he the only one that can save this country.
What about the notion that maybe he's just a successful businessman that has some narcissistic...
Absolutely not.
Hold on. He might just have some narcissistic tendencies. How do you're comparing him to the Antichrist?
Absolutely not. Let me say this. Anytime a man said that he's never asked for forgiveness because he's never had anything to be forgiven for, that means he puts himself in the place of God, which is perfection. And that right there means that he has a reprobated mind. Just because you say God does not mean you know God, because there's a scripture in the Bible that says, my name is on their lips, but their hearts are far from me.
Wow. No, I gotta admit, you're certainly more knowledgeable about scripture than I would be,
Oh, I am.
but
I am.
the Antichrist, Takesha, I'm still stuck
He
on
has,
that.
he has the spirit of the Antichrist.
And yet,
If you study the Antichrist and not watch Fox 6 while you're doing it, you'll see it.
and yet he did significantly better with the evangelicals than Biden. How did that happen there?
Because the Bible says that many are called, but few are chosen. That means that a lot of ministers call themselves into the ministry without God choosing them. You got people that get into preaching just for money or for the wealth of it. Just because somebody said they was called to preach, that doesn't mean they were called, sweetie. That's why the Lord said many be called, but few be chosen. They called themselves, but God didn't choose them. And you're going to know them by the fruit that they bear. Because guess what? God didn't call preachers to talk about Donald Trump. God didn't call preachers to talk about America. God called preachers to preach him for his kingdom, not for America. And anytime you find a preacher handsome that talks about Donald Trump saving America and America this and America that, God ain't called them to the ministry. Because their ministry is God, not Donald Trump.
All right, I don't know. I mean, there's a hell of a lot of Christians. So you said that they're all wannabes, so to speak.
Let me say this, handsome. I'm glad you said that. The word Christian means nothing these days because everybody's saying they're a Christian. You have to be a born-again believer. Because if the ones that's calling themselves Christians was what Christ was, because Christian really means Christ-like,
Okay.
then we in trouble.
You know, to be honest with you,
If you think about this, they don't want to feed the homeless. They don't want to clothe the naked. They don't want to help the foreigners. They don't want to do none of that. That ain't what Jesus did when he was here. He helped those who he didn't even fool with. He helped the Samaritan woman. He helped the woman whose child needed to be healed. That he didn't even fool with them Samaritan people. But she said even the dogs eat the crumbs that fall from the master's table. He healed her daughter right at that moment. He didn't tell the people that follow him, y'all pull yourself up by the bootstraps. You know, I ain't gonna feed y'all. He fed 5,000 men, not including women and children. So he didn't turn his back on his enemies. He fed them.
Well,
He gave them what they needed.
Based on what
That's what Christ does. And when you get to the point where you don't care nothing about the needs of people, you are not a Christian.
And do you see Biden as being a Christian?
I didn't call Biden a Christian. But I promise you, his heart was more towards God than Trump's ever will be, because he did have compassion for people. He did make laws to help needy people. Handsome.
Well,
I'm not saying he's perfect. I'm not saying he's this great God person. But him being a Catholic was on display from the stuff that he did.
But in regards to his heart being in the right place and helping out needy people, when Trump gave the January 6th folks a pardon, is he not helping out needy people?
Let's be damn for real, handsome. Let's just be for real, handsome. If there was a bunch of black January 6th folks, do you think they would have got a pardon?
I don't think they would.
That's a black woman. Handsome. Look on the list and see if that one black boy named that got arrested. See if he was pardoned.
That's a good point to make.
Go look for his name and see if his name on the list, handsome.
I'm thinking it would be, because he's
still sitting there eating that breakfast that they serving him this morning. He ain't getting pardoned. He's still saying, "Am I getting out?" No, you gonna stay.
You almost trying to me it almost appears as if you're trying to say that Trump got some kind of lesser quality toward people of color.
I'm done with Trump when Elon Musk got on stage and did what he did in MAGA, trying to make it seem like they done gave him 3 reasons he did it. First, they said a man autistic. So is my little cousin, but he ain't doing that. Then they said a man was saying he loved the folks. You ain't got to do all that. I done told folks I love them before. I done circled my heart with a heart. I ain't thumping my chest like Tarzan, throwing my hand in the air like that. They done gave him so many excuses. But handsome, I'm willing to bet you, if a Democrat had did that, and the Democrats tried to make an excuse. The right would be having a hissy fit, saying it is what it was. They too hypocritical for me. They just like modern day Pharisees. Everything they do is right, and everything everybody else do is wrong. They ain't finna call out no wrong on their side. One thing we will do on our side, we will call out wrong. But they ain't finna do that on their side. Point blank, period.
All right, Takesha White, you dropped a sermon today. A lot of folks in the comments, it definitely seemed like what you were saying was resonating. Not on my YouTube side. You know my MAGA on YouTube.
I could care less about YouTube and TubeView either. What I said stand. I ain't finna change it. I don't care who don't agree with it. Pick up your Bible and you'll get some knowledge too.
You almost made it sound like if you had a prediction, you would say that Trump would not be getting into the pearly gates of heaven. That's what I was...
Let me say this, handsome. And then I'm gonna let you go. When Trump won, the Lord showed me something. And ain't nobody gotta believe me. I don't care. This my belief. I know the Lord, He know me. We are about to go through a season of Saul. And the season of Saul means this. We're gonna face some destruction. Because the people begged for a king that He had already delivered us from, and we finna go through a rough patch. I want you to buckle up, get close to the Lord as you can. Because you're going to need Him in this time we finna go through. Mark my words, I'm going to come back. And me and you going to discuss it, and you're going to be like, Takesha, you said this. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about.
That's actually kind of scary. All right, Takesha, that's disappointing if that is the case.
Don't be scared. Be faithful. Be prayerful. And know that don't nobody top the Lord at all. The king's hand, handsome, is always in the hands of God. When they dig one ditch, they ain't got to dig two. Because the ditch they dig, they going to fall in it too. Have a great day, sir.
Wow. All right. Appreciate you coming through. Thank you. Takesha Bowie. Strong stuff for a first caller. Wow. I wasn't expecting all of that. That was some strong stuff. Takesha goes way back. We've been talking for quite a while. Always welcome on the program. So good evening, folks. This is indeed your boy, Tim, the Handsome Liberal. Kind of started the program off impromptu, so we are already in full session. What we're going to be talking about today is President Trump's day one executive orders. There was a host of them. There's no way we can cover them all. So as opposed to using them individually for topics, I want to hear from you folks. If Trump has implemented an executive order that you favor, you think would be great for America, or in regards to orders that you may be concerned with, that might actually be bad for this country. Now, we know the Remain in Mexico. My last caller was talking about the Paris Accord, the World Health Organization. I mean, the orders are everywhere. He's put in a lot of orders. One of the ones I heard, I'm not for certain if this is actual true, so I don't want to be on here giving misinformation. Maybe one of you folks in the comment section can let me know. But if I'm correct, in terms of federal officers, he rescinded Joe Biden's ban on chokeholds. So the federal police can now engage. Remember this came out really big after George Floyd. They started, departments started banning chokeholds all over America. Well, apparently the federal government did it too, because there are federal police. Well, Trump apparently, this is what I heard. I'm not 100% certain of this. I do not know the order, but I heard that Trump rescinded that so that cops can now engage in chokeholds again. I don't know if there's some kind of limitation on it or what, but I did hear that. So anyhow, looking in the comments, prescription prices says speak easy, and that's what my last caller was talking about as well. He rescinded a lot of things that Biden put in place as well. So I'm going to go ahead and continue with the program. Looking in the comments, a joint venture with no risk. Trump is a genius. That's the one that's going on right now. I was watching Fox News. They interrupted the 5 because Trump was speaking with a lot of high-tech individuals. And apparently they're going to contribute up to, $500 billion over the next 4 years to advance artificial intelligence. From what I can see, it looks extremely promising. But I'm not as knowledgeable on the subject, so this is what I always encourage you guys to do, and I'll go to the box after this. At the beginning of the program, I encourage you guys to, sometimes you got to watch media that is on the opposing view of what you favor politically, Because with all of these executive orders that the literal Trump dump, if you watch right-wing media, they're going to show you how great his orders are. If you watch left-wing media, they're going to pick them apart and show you some of the negative things, like the chokehold thing I talked about. Fox is not going to show that. So I'm encouraging folks, watch at least a little bit of media that is on the opposing side of your political beliefs. Because right now, the coverage of Trump is not fair or balanced on any of the networks. So you need to watch a little bit on both. Like, for instance, Trump went to church today, and a pastor tried to plead with him that people in the LGBT community and the immigrant community are fearful for their lives, and was begging him to rethink some of his policies and his mindset. The right-wing media is not going to cover that, because he walked out of church and they asked him, how was the sermon? And it wasn't good. Did you like it? I mean, he had some choice words in view on his experience in church. The right is not going to cover that. You need to see that on the left. So you need to be able to see it on both sides. I'm going to go straight to the box, talking about Trump's day one policies. Numerous indeed. How do you feel about them? Did you favor some? Did you have any criticism? Coyote 183. Good evening, Coyote. Welcome to the program. If the box brings them up. There you go. Coyote, are you there?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm assuming you are aware of at least some of Trump's day one policies?
Yeah.
What's your take?
I mean, obviously, people on the left are going to hate it. People on the right are going to love it.
Fact. That is true.
There's some things that I'm a Trump supporter. There's some things I could care less about. There's some things that I like about it.
Give me some examples.
Well, you just brought something up I wanted to bring attention to. It's about the $500 billion investment.
Yes.
I think it's clear for everybody to look and see that how much did this cost the taxpayers?
Zero, but it depends on. I mean, here's the thing, because right now it looks like Trump just was able to secure a $500 billion investment with no risk, no input from America or anything at all. Now, technically, that doesn't make sense. So even I agree with you on its surface, it looks like it cost us nothing, but that doesn't make sense. Why would they invest $500 billion in America if they're going to get nothing out of it? So there's got to be more to that.
Yeah, well, certainly they'd be able to profit off of it in some way or another. Nobody invests money.
We need to know what that some way or another is.
That's a good point. Yeah. But the opposing thing was Harris. She raised $1 billion for Central America. So I just think there's big differences between the two.
Yeah. Well, and I guess I get your point. Certainly with him raising $500 billion over 4 years, and you're saying Kamala Harris only raised one. But like I said, this is where I'm suggesting folks watch media that is opposing to, like, if you support Trump, I would say there's probably going to be at least some MSNBC or maybe CNN critique of this $500 billion proposal. There's something negative in there. And of course, Fox News is not going to cover that. So I'm saying that we need to figure out why they are so gung-ho and putting all this money in America. I mean, there has to be something in it for them.
Probably because we're a consumer economy. They see opportunity in America, especially with the Donald Trump presidency.
I mean, you and I are both speculating. You could be right, but I need to know that. I need to hear from some of Trump's critics. What have they found out with their research? I don't want to just automatically attribute all of the, roses and rainbows to the fact that Trump raised his money. My guess is there is something else in it that we need to find out about. I mean, maybe some of these guys are nefarious characters. Maybe there's something in their history we need to be concerned about. Maybe there's, they're obviously going to be connected to Big Pharma because the guy's talking about curing cancer and things like that. I just need to hear more research on it before I just jump up and down and say it's great because, there's a phrase, if it sounds too good to be true, oftentimes it is. I need to hear the full scope of this. This is what a lot of Trump supporters often say when people are critical of Trump. Well, I need to see the full video. You're taking that out of context. Well, this kind of has that same mindset. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I agree. They're definitely getting something out of it. I don't think anybody puts their money and effort towards something without getting something in return. It would be kind of silly to think they would. My only point was there's a difference between making the taxpayers pay for something and letting these private companies invest in our society, our nation. You know.
Well, we don't know. Okay, in regards to the taxpayers not paying anything, we don't know if receiving this money from them does not entitle them to receive tons of money from the U.S. taxpayers down the line. We just don't know. I mean, that's just it. You got to understand the full scope of what they're doing. They're not just handing over $500 billion out of the kindness of their heart. They're getting something back from it. And when you say the taxpayers are not involved, that whatever they're receiving, we could be involved. It may be just 5 or 10 years down the line, but we need to know what is the reason why they are so excited. Because Trump got the guy originally, one of the Asian guy that was on there. He originally pledged 100 billion under Trump, and Trump made the joke, "Oh, why won't you go up to 200 billion?" And the guy was like, "I don't know." And today he comes back and says, "Well, now it's 500 billion." Who the hell does that? Who is that eager to do that? Something is in it for him, and I need to know what that is before we just jumping up and down about how great it is.
What do you think about the pardons?
And that's one of the questions I've been asking. And this is, once again, in regards to the pardoning of the January 6th protesters, rioters, whatever you want to call them. This is why I also would say you need to watch media on both sides, because Trump is saying they got outrageous sentences. He's saying that many of them have already served a ton of time in jail and things like that. Fact is, some of the folks he pardoned haven't done a day in jail. Their cases are still going. Some of them were just about to be sentenced. So everyone that he pardoned has not done a long time in jail. And some of these folks actually did things like using stun guns on cops, beating up cops, trying to take their guns away. I think that he should have did it on a case-by-case basis as opposed to a blanket pardon. So for me, it doesn't look good. But what say you?
Yeah, I was hoping he would have stuck towards his word and done it on a case-by-case basis. I do like to look at both sides and try to understand from both sides. There were people that attacked police officers, and I believe they should have remained in jail for at least a fair amount of time, or what was equitable towards people with similar crimes. But one of your last guests said that if it was a black person, they never would have gotten out. I wanted to come up because I feel like people like the race bait. There's no real nice way to say it. People just like the race bait. And I looked it up, and I'm looking at Mark Ponder, who he hit a police officer. Didn't he pardon all of them?
He pardoned. Well, there was one black guy that got a lengthy sentence. My guess is he did pardon the guy. I didn't look his name up specifically, but if Trump pardoned everybody but the black guy, I think the left-wing media would have been talking about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. My guess is he definitely pardoned them all.
Yeah, but why would she make a claim like that? I didn't know myself. I looked it up, but why make a claim like that unless they're trying to race bait?
Well, when you look at how Trump felt about Black Lives Matter, doing things like blocking traffic and things like that, he calls Black Lives Matter a terrorist outfit. But then he is very favorable to the January 6th protesters, even though technically they're doing the exact same thing. They're not setting fire to the Capitol building, but they're breaking stuff. They're shitting on people's desks. They're stealing stuff, taking things. I mean, why is he favorable to one and so critical to the other? Did I lose you there?
No.
Okay.
My daughter was asking me a question. Why did he favor the J6ers?
Why is he favorable to the J6 folks and review them as patriots, and he viewed the Black Lives Matter people as terrorists? Why is there such a stark difference?
I think it's because the other side, and this is why I think he pardoned all of them instead of just some of them, the way the other side says you can't do something and then they turn around and they do it themselves. Like, Biden on his way out, pardoning all those people, probably made Trump a little salty, and maybe
So wait. So he rescinded on his standpoint of being a law and order, back to blue police, just out of spite for Joe Biden?
It's very possible. I can't think of another reason. Or maybe he's more busy than he thought he would be.
So
can you think of a different reason?
Well, I mean, it's hard to say, but you're going to be angry with Biden and let cops get their asses beat. One of the cops said they were trying to take his gun away and threatening to shoot him with it. Your anger for Joe Biden is going to make you leave all those cops hanging like that?
No, I'm just saying I think that's why Trump did it.
That's what I'm talking about. You did this out of anger for Joe Biden and left all of these Capitol Police officers whose job is to defend you and the property surrounding the White House. You going to leave all these people on the lurch because you're pissed off at Joe Biden?
It probably goes deeper than that. You got to think of what they put this man through for the past 8, 9
Capitol
years.
Police ain't got nothing to do with that.
Yeah, well, hurt people hurt people.
So what did we elect? We elected a president that is mentally abused? I mean, he's going to be acting like a domestic abuse survivor and just making bad decisions based on his anger?
He might.
Is that a good
thing? You don't
thing?
think any other president's ever done that?
I don't recall anybody making these type of pardons, and I'm not saying that Joe Biden's pardons were good either, but I don't recall anybody pardoning folks who were literally trying to beat up and kill cops. That's pretty strong.
Well, in the summer of love, Kamala Harris supported that Minnesota Freedom Fund. None
of them got pardoned, though. This is different.
That assaulted people.
Yeah, but this is...
One of them actually got out and ended up unaliving somebody.
Okay, and do you think that's right?
No.
Okay, so in other words, what Trump did is wrong then?
Well, from your side, you're telling me what Trump did was wrong.
No, I'm asking you. I'm asking you. If you're telling me... Go ahead.
I think what they both did was wrong.
Okay.
I'm saying they're playing probably an immature tit for tat.
Yeah. With the policeman's life, you're going to get mad that the left did not go after January 6th protesters. So cops who almost lost their lives, you're going to just leave them hanging because you want to avenge the fact that the Black Lives Matter people didn't get punished properly.
I have to go off of what I know, and from what I know, only one person was unalived on J6. I understand that some of the other police officers might have had complications from that, but is that in any kind of medical report?
Well, there's cops on video getting bear sprayed and beaten with helmets. I mean, I don't know if that would cause any mental anguish, but I mean, the idea that you're outnumbered by hundreds of people and they're yelling that they want to take your lives. Do you need a medical report to understand that might cause some mental anguish?
Yeah. And yeah, I agree. You probably shouldn't have done that, pardon those people. On the flip side, there were people that weren't doing that. Not all 1,500 people that were there that day were smearing crap on the wall or beating police officers. And I feel like it's not too hard to look at that and feel like they were unjustly treated as well.
I mean, in regards to the 1,500 people, the first thing I'd have to figure out is what were their charges, because they didn't all get charged with the same thing. I mean, some people got charged with doing things much more violent. So if they just got charged with trespassing, is that not a legitimate charge? I mean, if you're in the building and you clearly see people smashing windows and things to get in here, you know this ain't a tour. I mean, nobody gives a tour on one side of a building that people are actively breaking into and beating cops on the other side. So if you're in there, is it okay to at least give them a trespassing charge?
Yeah, how long does somebody serve for trespassing, though?
Yeah, now, how long they were incarcerated, that varies, because like I said before you came up, some of these folks ain't did a day. Some of them been in there for years. Some of them haven't done a day. Some of their cases were still going on. Some people just got sentenced. I remember one guy just got sentenced over the Thanksgiving holiday. All of these people ain't been in jail for long periods of time like Trump is alluding to. Some of them have done no time at all.
Now, I'm not too familiar with criminal justice, but when someone's waiting for trial, is that part of time served?
Not if you're not doing time. If you get sent, okay, let's say you got a felony charge on you, and they give you bail. If you cannot afford to pay bail, then you're going to spend time in the county jail or whatever. Yes, then that can be attributed to time served when you're sentenced. But if you pay bail and you're roaming around and sitting at home and going to work every day, you're not serving any time. So I don't. I mean,
What
I
if
don't.
you're on house arrest?
If they got you restricted in any way, fashion, or form, where you're, like you said, you're on house arrest or something like that, yeah, you could get time served. But if you're out on bail and you're free to do whatever you want, then no, you're. I mean, I don't see how you get time served for that. You're not serving any time.
Okay. Well, I guess like 1,500 people is a lot of people for either you or I or anybody else to really look at all their cases. So I'll just agree that he probably shouldn't have pardoned any of the more violent offenders. And he probably should have pardoned the people that were just trespassing, maybe broke a window, whatever, destroying someone's life over a window. They were a little heated. It's not right, but is it right to destroy someone's life over that?
Well, it depends on the person that broke the window. It depends on the charge they got. Were they charged with trespassing and spent 6 months inside, or were they charged with, something serious and they spent several years? It depends on what they got charged with. I mean, if you broke a window and you went in there, they charge you with a crime and you don't done 6 months and you've been free the whole time now. Do you deserve a pardon? You broke in, breaking and entering. You got 6 months, and you've been out ever since that. Does that person deserve a pardon? I don't know if I lost you there.
No, I was just thinking. And then there's the issue with the agents in the field. I don't think anybody knows what their role was, what they were doing, or who they were, do they? They just know that they were there.
Well, if there were FBI agents in the field there, I don't recall anybody saying an FBI agent grabbed my hands and forced me to break a window or forced me to climb up a wall. At best, we can claim the FBI agents were similar to what they claim Ray Epps was doing is instigating, but somebody instigating you to commit a felony has never been allowed as a defense in court. So I don't know why Ray Epps or the FBI.
What happened to those people who planned to kidnap the governor of Michigan or whatever? Didn't they get their case dropped?
Yeah, but that's a totally separate case, and that's what's confusing with this is that when you bring up January 6th as a defense, the January 6th sympathizers are bringing up all of this other stuff all over the country. And I always say, I don't care if you get charged with a speeding ticket or a double homicide. Bringing up something somebody else did in another part of the country that got away with is never a defense. No matter what the courts charge you with, there's always somebody else in America that has done the same thing and got away with it. So I don't know why Black Lives Matter, or as you mentioned in the Michigan courthouse case, that stuff is irrelevant for this case, though.
Not exactly if they were coerced or, I'm reading here, entrapment is a legal defense that occurs when a person is persuaded by law enforcement to commit a crime they would have not otherwise committed.
Persuaded how?
That the government shouldn't be able to create a criminal act and then force someone to commit it.
How were they persuaded, though?
Even helping them plan it, I think even helping them plan it is considered entrapment. And that would be for any case.
How did they persuade him to do it, though? What do you mean by persuade him? You're walking 2 miles to the Capitol. Hold on, hang on. You're walking 2 miles to the Capitol building. Trump has already told you to go peacefully and patriotically. What did the FBI do in that 2 miles to make you go completely against the guy you flew out to see?
Well, according to the whole premise that Donald Trump incited the riot, you can simply just say some words and you're responsible for it, right?
No, he actually said go to the Capitol building. He actually told them, just like if somebody says fire in the crowded theater, he gave them something that happened that did not happen. Even to this day, they can't prove what he said was true about Dominion voting machines and a lot of that other stuff. He told them something was happening. And that is why they did it. They were there to stop the steal. That was not happening. There was no still taking place.
Well, there was another group there that had previously planned to do this, and I believe that they should be still in jail.
What group?
But to my point, everybody was saying that Trump incited this because he said fight, even though he said peacefully and patriotically. And not only that, a lot of people don't mention that he also said to have your voices heard, because that's what a protest is.
Here's what I don't get. Okay, here's what I don't get. They're there to stop the steal. You tell them to go to the Capitol building. Now they're inside the Capitol building performing an inauguration. The Capitol building is closed. How can you stop the steal if you can't get in the building? What were they actually going to do when he said we're going to stop the steal, and he says go peacefully and patriotically? How can you stop a steal by being peaceful and patriotic?
Well, they're there to voice their.
They're in the building. They can't. They're inside. You're outside yelling. That's not going to stop anything.
Well, people do that anyways. You have the right to do that.
You got a right to do it, but it doesn't coincide with the mission statement. Your goal is to stop the steal, not stand on the outside of the building and yell. I mean, that doesn't even make sense.
He wanted people to support the Congress with their voices, right? Because their Congress had some objections to the electoral count.
They're inside, but they're inside the coyote.
They were there to support them.
They're inside the building. Nothing you're doing outside is going to. The building is locked. They're inside. You're outside yelling. That's not going to have any relevance at all. They're inside the building. The only way you're going to stop the steal.
How many people protest in a court case outside the court? They're not allowed in the court. They still go to the court and they still protest.
But they didn't go to protest. They went to stop the steal.
How?
Exactly. The only way to stop the steal was to go into the building and physically do something. Interrupt what's going on. That's the only way you can stop the steal, is to break into the building and interrupt the proceedings, which is what they did.
Yes, they ended up doing that. But was that the directive that Donald Trump, who said to go peacefully and patriotically to have your voices be heard?
I think
was that his
I think a 2-year-old would be smart enough to know that the folks are talking about hanging Mike Pence. They got stop the steal signs, and you're talking about peacefully.
Everybody.
Hold on, you're talking about peacefully and patriotically. You exclude the fact that Trump used words like fight about a dozen times before saying that. You're going to send these folks to the Capitol building. You know the National Guard is not there, so you know they're unsecured, and your belief is they'll all just be peaceful and patriotic when they get there. You don't know who they are. You didn't pat them down for weapons. You're claiming that the Antifa and FBI and the Black Lives Matters in the crowd. You don't know who the hell these people are. Why would you send a bunch of unknown people to the Capitol building?
Because, I just don't understand, because the Democrats protest outside of events all the time.
It got nothing to do with the Democrats, though. I'm talking about,
it's the idea of protesting. You don't have to be inside and be talking to people to protest. You can be outside and support the people from the outside.
Then if you think they're going to be peaceful and patriotic, why did you request the National Guard?
Just in case there were issues.
So in other words, exactly. So you know there may be issues. And even though you know there may be issues, you're going to send them to the Capitol building where all of the most sensitive targets in America are located. And you know that they may be armed. You haven't patted anybody. Does that make sense for a president to send a group of unknown? We don't know if they're carrying weapons or not. We don't know who they are. We haven't identified them or any of that. To send them to a building where the vice president and all the heads of government are located. Does that sound like something a president should do?
Yeah, well, supporting people and protesting.
That ain't what I asked you. What I asked you.
Yeah.
Do you see any safety risk in that?
For a president to send constituents to a place to protest?
You don't know if they're constituents. Some of these folks may be felons straight out of prison. They may be rapists and murderers from Venezuela. You haven't surveyed the crowd. Nobody's been patted down. You don't know who these people are.
We're not going to protest George Floyd because
this ain't got nothing to do with George Floyd. This is not George Floyd.
It's the same standard. Why are you saying that Republicans can't protest when you
I
would
didn't say
obviously
you can't.
support Democrats.
I didn't say you couldn't
So
protest.
can a Democrat protest even if he's a felon?
I'm not saying you cannot protest. What I'm asking you is it not predictable that saying go peacefully and patriotically to a bunch of people that you have no clue who they are may go wrong? Is that not predictable that what you are doing
You don't. No, it's not.
is not predictable at all? You just expect people you don't know to just follow peaceful and patriotic. You just felt that would happen, even though you requested
people are going to be violent.
Why would you request the National Guard?
Who requested the National Guard?
Trump claims he requested the National Guard.
So why weren't they there?
Why did he request them?
I think he had intel along with the rest that there was something already planned.
So then,
So
if
it wasn't Trump's plan to send people there and commit this. If he requested, and I'm not saying he did or he didn't, but if he requested them because he had intel that something wrong was going to happen, how come they weren't there? Isn't he the commander in chief and he's the person in charge?
No, we can tackle why they weren't there. If Nancy Pelosi or somebody didn't send them there, we can tackle that. But fact is, you know they are not there. And as you said, maybe you've already got it. Let's say it's you. You've already gotten intel that something may be going wrong. You requested the National Guard. The National Guard is not there. Are you going to send them to the Capitol building, where you know the most sensitive targets in America are located? Would you do that, knowing that you've got intel that something may go wrong and all these folks are in this building and there's no security and you don't know who they are, you haven't checked them for weapons? Would you make that decision?
Yeah.
So you don't care about who's in the building then?
I don't think your rights are dependent on what other people do. So if you're in a group that wants to protest and one or two might be a bad person, should I tell you can't go and protest?
How do you know it's only one or two? You don't know who these people are.
I don't, so why would I assume?
Because you requested the National Guard.
That would suggest that Republicans typically hold violent protests.
I'm telling you, if you request, no, that ain't what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if you requested what I'm saying is, if you requested the National Guard, it's pretty clear that you felt something may go wrong. So why would you send a crowd that you felt something may go wrong with to the building with all these people in it?
Because you still have rights, even if other people do something wrong.
So you were more focused on protecting your rights than the actual heads of America.
Yes, I would not suggest anybody lay down their rights because somebody else might do something wrong with them.
And if you were one of the senators or congressmen in that building and the president told you that, I was more focused on protecting my rights than your safety in this building, how would you feel about that?
Well, no, that's if you could only guarantee that there were violent people in that
You
crowd.
don't know. That's what I keep telling
so
you.
Why would he automatically assume that some of these people might do something wrong?
When you requested the National Guard, you already made the assumption then. You're only requesting the National Guard because you're already assuming something may go wrong. So why would you send them here?
Say you want to protest something, and
That ain't what we're talking about. You have a right to protest.
That place. All right, say somebody else calls that, wherever you're going to protest and says they're going to do something bad. Should you not still have the right to protest, or should your right to protest be forfeited?
No.
Because somebody might do something wrong.
You have a right to protest. I agree with you there, but let me ask you this. If your child was in that building under those same circumstances, you would still send them there because you have a right to protest. You would still, if your daughter was in that building or your son was in that building, you would still send them there knowing that you're putting that person in their safety at risk because you have a right to protest. Is that what you're telling me?
Well, how could he predict that something was going to happen?
I'm just asking you a question. You don't know. So would you send them to the building? Would you send hundreds of unknown people that have not been patted down to a building or a location where your child was at under that circumstance because you have a right to protest? Would you do that?
Unprotected? That kind of sounds like schools.
I think it kind of sounds like you're trying not to answer the question.
Bad things happen there?
You're not answering the question. Would you send them to the building?
I think some things in life are unfortunate.
That's
But
not
we're
answering
looking
the
at a
question.
similar instance. If I leave the house, something bad could happen to me.
I'm
not gonna
still
not
trying
leave
to
my
figure
house
out what
because
the answer
something
to
bad could happen to
yeah,
me.
but I'm still trying to figure out what your answer to the question is.
The answer is I don't feel comfortable about a lot of things. That doesn't mean I'm not going to participate in life or my rights.
I'm still trying to figure out, would you send them to the building if your family member was there?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. That's what I was trying to find out. I don't know. So I'm assuming you think the family member would be totally okay with that if something went on? Or do you not
I would think
care?
what?
My guess is, based on what you're saying, you're elevating your right to protest over the safety of the people in the building.
No, I'm saying that everyone's rights ends where another person's begins.
Bit complicated. All right, Coyote, I gave you a little bit of extra time, but I appreciate you coming on. You're always welcome back. We don't agree on this. That's fine. That's how the show works.
Thank you.
But come on back anytime, man.
Have a good day.
You too. All right, moving on with the program. I do want to respond to a couple super chats. And by the way, I do believe my last viewer, that's kind of common among, I think a lot of MAGA would probably agree with him. And I see the comments. Lady Liberty says you're losing viewers with January 6th talk. Look, it's what's going on. The guy just pardoned a bunch of them today. And if any viewer that I lose because I'm talking about a current event, it is what it is. There's nothing I can do about that. This is as current as it gets. He just pardoned the people today. So if folks are bowing out, it is what it is. I'm never going to discuss a subject that 100% of the participants agree with. So that is what it is. Continuing with the program, Will G. Will G says Trump ain't shit. White privilege at its finest. Now, I'm assuming he's referring to the last caller. He continues on to say, pardon, this is J Aviation, says, pardon P. Diddy. Wow. Make freak-offs great again. Yikes. You know, the only way Trump would even consider pardoning P. Diddy is if he had something to do or knew somebody that has something to do with those freak-offs. Will says, Elon Musk with his stern high five, but not one whisper, but they silence yay for saying we are Jews too, and WW3. It's funny as shit. Well, they're claiming that what Elon Musk did was something they're attributing to, what he's got, Asperger's syndrome or something they're claiming. You know, I posted a few comments about what Elon Musk did with that, what looks like a salute straight out of the Third Reich of 1930s and 1940s Germany. And people were like, well, he's got Asperger's syndrome and you guys are wrong for making fun of a mental illness. I couldn't do nothing at that point but literally go insane with laughter. I mean, we've been talking about for years how we would love to have some $2 gas and mean tweets back. We laughed at a guy who allegedly is an elderly man with dementia for the last 4 or 5 years. We laughed when someone literally almost beat Nancy Pelosi's husband to death with a hammer. But all of a sudden, this guy got Asperger's and he's suddenly off limits. I could not stop laughing. Like, look, I don't care or know what Elon Musk has, but if your defense is you shouldn't laugh at somebody because they got mental illness after what we just seen happen to Joe Biden, I just say, I'm like, we're long past the time to try to say, you know, ridicule of somebody is off limits. I mean, so I couldn't do nothing but laugh at it. Now, whether Elon has Asperger's or not, I don't know. Maybe he does. I don't. Is it normal for people with Asperger's syndrome to give Third Reich type salutes? Is that something they normally do? Because there's no denying what he did. It's literally like a spitting image of what they used to do in the Third Reich. So is that something that people with Asperger's adopt? Now, before I continue on, I will say this. I think all of us have seen what Elon Musk did dozens, if not hundreds of times over, certainly from, military in Germany from the 30s and 40s. We've all seen it. We've all seen it from some hate groups. A lot of hate groups have adopted that same symbol. Over the course of your life, you've probably seen it used dozens of times. The point I'm making is this: you've always seen it used as a measure of hate. I'm asking you, have you ever seen it used for love? Because Elon said his heart goes out to you when he used this. Anytime a school has a mass casualty event, people will tell you, my heart goes out to the victims, thoughts and prayers. Have you ever seen anybody do that as a symbol of love, as a symbol of endearment? You've absolutely seen them do it as a symbol of hate. But have you ever seen anybody do it as a symbol of love? Because that's what he said. My heart goes out to you. And I was just trying to, I've never seen it. Now, in the comments, someone is stating that Kamala Harris and Hillary Clinton did it. I get the sarcasm. Anyhow, Will G says another reason why they banned TikTok was because Zionists did not like the pro-Palestinian, anti-Jewish view, anti-Israeli view. That could be possible. That absolutely could be possible because there was a lot of pro-Palestine, pro-Hamas channels on social media. I didn't get too deep into that. I've never gotten. I covered the conflict, but I've never viewed what happened on October 7th as something that was positive. I get that they believe they're being oppressed in Gaza. They believe it was an open air prison. They believe Israel has been oppressing them for years or what, but that ain't gonna work. Going into Israel in that manner and just, taking the lives of a bunch of innocent people, kids and all of that, and hostages, that ain't the way to solve that. So I've never viewed that in a positive light. MAGA on George Floyd protests, you have to protest the correct way. MAGA on January 6th, and that is something you commonly hear, is that the Democrats, Black Lives Matter, do not protest the right way. And all of a sudden, similar protest happens on January 6th, and suddenly they're patriots, which is why Will states MAGA ain't shit. You often will hear that when I see that ain't shit coming. Will literally leads on that. Anyhow, let me continue on the program. Lil Wayne was pardoned and Lil Boosie by Trump. I don't think Lil Boosie got pardoned by Trump. Lil Wayne got pardoned, and there is another rapper he pardoned. I cannot think of the guy's name right now, but that guy's a career criminal. Lil Wayne got pardoned, but some could argue that Lil Wayne, because he had other felonies on his rap sheet, and I'll go to the box right after this, but Lil Wayne got pardoned for being a felon in possession of a firearm. I don't know how it happened because Lil Wayne, tattoos on the face. His music is very violent. He wears his pants sagging around his ass. He literally looks exactly like what MAGA often complains about. Yet somehow him affiliating with Trump scored him a pardon. The other guy he pardoned is even worse. That guy had felonies on his rap sheet. Trump pardoned him. What is the guy's name? Somebody let me know what the other rapper that Trump... Kodak Black. That is who it is. Tyrone John Griffin. He pardoned Kodak Black, and Kodak Black has stacked up a bunch of felonies since Trump did that, which is why you don't hear the right bragging about pardoning Kodak Black at all. He pardoned a career criminal, and that guy went right back and got caught up in a lot more drama since Trump pardoned him for the old drama. Let me go back to the box and continue on with the program. One of my subscribers, Gerald MC, good evening, welcome to the program. They paid Trump for that pardon. Could be in votes, could be in popularity, trying to stir up the black community to get a few more votes. I mean, yeah, you're saying that Kodak Black's folks paid Trump. I'm under the impression that Trump is a close friend of Kodak Black's attorney. So maybe he did get paid. I don't know. Gerald MC, if the box will bring him up, we'll give it a second. Kodak Black is already back in jail, says Black Rain. Yeah, that dude is a career criminal that Trump pardoned. Kodak Black is a career criminal. You do not hear in any MAGA circles them bragging about, see, we love black people, we pardon Kodak Black. They don't bring his name up at all because they pardoned a genuine bad guy, apparently. I'll give the box a couple seconds to reset because my last guest is not coming up. Germany used to do it for endurance and love. It was their literal formal salute. Is that what we're going with, Mr. Wondering? You're saying what he's talking about what Elon Musk did. He's saying that Germany used to do that for endurance and love. It was their literal foremost salute. All right. Okay. I don't know what to do with that because, and listen, what he is saying may be accurate, but it doesn't take away from the fact of the type of group we're talking about. I mean, they were going around taking people's lives by the thousands. So even if that's what they were doing, I mean, it would be like a bunch of pedos having a secret handshake. And well, this is what we used to do when we meet each other. You're pedos. You're pedos. It don't matter what kind of salute you. I mean, these are really genuinely bad people. Continue on with the program. I tried to bring up a guest on Instagram. I don't know what's happening here, but we'll try it one more time. If not, we'll continue on TikTok. I'm still having problems with Instagram. I'm still having problems with that. They meet in the women's restroom. All right. Did I bring up Miss Portia? I don't know if I brought her up or not. Let me see if I got Miss Portia. Are you there? Apparently not. So we'll continue on. Proud boy and white supremacist was loving the Elon salute. You know, that's one I would like to hear from. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to get involved in or get invited into that forum, but I would like to hear from some folks that do use that symbol as a measure of hate. I would like to hear what they think of what Elon Musk did. Do they attribute it to Asperger's syndrome, as folks are saying? Going back to the box, Texas. Good evening, Texas. Welcome to the program. Hey, good evening. Good to have you back on the show. Did you see what Elon Musk did?
Yeah, I did.
Your opinion?
I believe there's some people that, like yourself, maybe that need to get your cortisol levels checked. I don't know if y'all living in this fight or flight. I didn't take it that when I watched it on TV. When I went back and watched it again, I didn't take it that way because I watched more than the 1 second of it, right? I watched it in its totality. I mean, if you want to draw off of and try to say what he meant by that and not any of the other gestures he was doing erratically up there and not take his words for it, because to me, he's giving me no reason not to believe what he says. And when he says, I give my heart out to you and does the gesture again, then I believe that's what he's gesturing and it's nothing else.
But I guess one of the things I would ask, well, first of all, have you ever seen like members of the Third Reich in Germany? Have you ever seen them do it?
Yes, I have.
Does his look similar to theirs in any way, shape, or form, in your opinion?
Well, how much does it have to be to consider it to be similar? I mean, what percentage? Does it have to be 50% to be similar?
Give me your percentage.
My point is you can nitpick and say it's similar because you want it to be similar.
Which is why I'm asking you. Does it look totally different to you?
Totally different? No, of course there's similarities, but there's a lot of things that aren't similar to.
Explain.
Did he click his heels?
Huh?
Did he click his heels?
What is he, Dorothy from Kansas? You can't see his feet.
Okay, but that's not answering the question. I mean, did they not snap their heels together when they salute that way?
Honestly, I don't know. I've never known about the Third Reich clicking their heels.
Yeah, so they do. They click their heels, which he didn't do. So there's something that's not similar, right? They also...
Well, wait a minute, though. We don't know if he clicked his heels or not. His feet were not on camera. We don't know.
You would have been able to tell by his body. If you've seen it happen, you'll be able to know. Which, I mean, again, it
you
just
told me I need my cortisol level check. Keep going.
Yeah, I'm not in fear of it. Right. You know what cortisol is, Tim?
It's a shot.
No, it's a chemical our brain creates when we're in fight or flight.
Can't you get a cortisone shot?
No, cortisol is the hormone in your brain that triggered by fight or flight.
Oh, so there's no such thing as a cortisone shot.
Cortisone. I'm saying cortisol.
Oh, I thought I heard something different. Okay, cortisol. Okay. All right, I heard something different. All right.
I'm from Texas. My draw might be a little weird for you.
I ain't hating on your draws. Okay, so you say the clicking in heels. What else was different?
Well, he didn't follow it up with saying. I mean, like, again, I'm looking at the whole moment. He was jumping around like a 5-year-old. I was like, what? And I was embarrassed for him before he even did that. I was like, holy crap, he's acting crazy. This is the richest man in the world who's running billion-dollar companies, and he's acting like a little 5-year-old. I mean, you could tell he was full of excitement. And when he did it, I was like, oh, yep, people are going to jump on that. But I watched him, and when he said this, my heart goes out to you, I take it as maybe that's what he does to show it.
But think about what you just said.
Done nothing.
But think about
again, he's done nothing for me not to take him for his word.
Okay, but think about what you just said. You said when you saw it at first, your first thought was people are going to jump on that. So clearly you do see at least some similarity and some reason for other people to see what they're claiming they see.
No, I just know what the left is going to claim and jump on. Just like the second Melania was late with the Bible, and the second she didn't get up there and he didn't put his hand on it, I was like, oh, yep, people are going to bitch about that. I mean, I just know what is going to be thrown out there and be inflated by the left because they do this fear-mongering is what I see it as. And people with high cortisol levels, such as yourself, tend to just fall into it and be like, oh, my God, this is going to be the worst thing that happens. And it's like, it's not, though.
Let me ask you this. In regards to the fear-mongering and the lack of cortisol, do you see this as just a left-wing thing? In other words, if the right does, if a liberal did something like this, let's say they could find an old picture of Joe Biden during the time he put the crime bill out doing this. Do you think the right would see the same thing that the left is seeing?
Hell yeah. I mean, look, if it had been, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a billionaire that might have done that for, a Democrat. Yeah, would have Fox News jumped on it? Sure. Because that's what our media pushes, right? They push us to look at things out of context and inflate them in one way or another that suits their agenda.
Okay. Don't fall for the agenda. Okay, go ahead.
No, that's what I was just saying. Don't fall for the agenda of it. Don't inflate it for something it's not, Okay.
I want to play a video. Now, this is my first time watching this as well, but I was trying to see if I could find something for fodder for us to discuss while we're talking about this. This is a video of someone named Anders Behring. It's not going to ring a bell. Breivik is his last name. He's a Norwegian mass killer. And apparently he does the symbol in open court. And I want to see what similarities it has to Elon Musk. Now, this video is from 8 years ago. I believe he's the one that took out a bunch of kids, like 60 or 70. I believe he's the one that caused them to have a ban on firearms in their country. But I may be wrong on that. But I want to see, it's a 55-second video. He does the salute. Let's see how similar this is to Elon Musk, and we'll talk about it on the other side. Repeat, say that again.
You could hear his heels click.
Yeah, I did hear that. I actually did hear that.
Yeah, and you can see it in his body movement. And he didn't start from his chest. He came right up from the side, which is typical of a Nazi salute.
Now, try to avoid saying it. For some reason, TikTok doesn't like it. I don't ban anybody, but TikTok doesn't like the N-word. Yeah, TikTok doesn't like it.
You're struggling with the algorithm already. Yeah. We don't need to mess you up no more.
Yeah, but I did hear that. I actually did. Yeah, I did hear his heels click. I actually did hear that.
Yeah.
I'm amazed you know that. I'd never heard that before. I'm learning something. You're helping my cortisol.
I'm a World War II history kind of guy. To me, it's amazing, that they got away with what they did, especially still in the time of what they got away with it. That's what drew me to it, is how can that happen,
I think you might have some American examples in real time to look at.
Well, it always happens. If you look at history enough, you see how it repeats itself all the time.
I'll tell you, in my opinion, if I can give you cheap groceries and put a little bit of money in your pocket, a lot of Americans will turn a blind eye to any damn thing. And I think that's kind of what led them to be able to do that. If you can promise the masses things that they favor, they'll turn a blind eye to whatever else you might. I mean, how many people talk about, I would love to have $2 gas and mean tweets, which means I'll turn a blind eye to whatever you're saying about people as long as you can lower gas prices.
And yeah, no doubts, but I don't, Schmittler, we'll call him that, right? He said a lot more than that, and he said a lot crazier things, and you know,
you do realize the vermin and the poison in the blood. I mean, we've had some similarities in this country to what he's actually saying.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can always find similarities in anything.
I don't know about poison in the blood and vermin. Those are pretty stark similarities. I don't know. That's a pretty strong similarity. You would not think so?
Well, look, I'm not going to get on that. I'm not a strong Trump supporter. I can sit here and tell you, like, there's a lot of things he's done and said that I don't agree with, even starting yesterday. I mean, I was sitting there like, I was just ready to hear some of these executive orders and ready for the guy to shut up. I mean, there's no denying he likes to hear himself talk.
No.
But, you know, that's why I got up here. I wanted to bring some lightness to you seem to be harboring this fear and stuff. Let's look at some brighter stuff. You wanted to talk about some of the executive orders that we may have disagreed.
I'll give you a minute. Yeah, wait, give me the good ones. Give me the good news.
Well, to me, which I think one that is getting some negative feedback, and I've even heard it on some right-wing media, negative feedback, is him labeling the cartels as a terrorist organization.
Well, I can tell you why. His promise was he's not going to get us involved in any new wars, and we're going to focus on America first. That's military involvement. I mean, you're going to start taking on the cartels. It sounds like Clear and Present Danger, the movie, where you're going to be at least droning coca fields, or I mean, that sounds like military. That's why people don't like it.
Yeah. No, I understand why, but my whole point is, if we're going to have any involvement, is it not better that it is here, you know, close to us and not halfway across the world? And it's something that could be done with special forces and small fractions of our military, not a full force of what it would take if we were to get involved, boots on the ground, and say Ukraine or Israel. This is something that would be a much smaller thing and that would benefit not just us, but Mexico as well.
Yeah, I agree with you, but the point is, you said you were not going to get us in further military conflicts. And keep in mind, a lot of times when we get involved in major excursions, like the Vietnam War, for instance, they all say what you just said. It's just going to be a small thing with the special forces, and then shit blows out of control. I mean, but a lot of them start out that way, where it's just going to be a small issue over here. We'll send a few Delta Force in. It's not going to get to be too big, and before you know it, it's out of control.
I would say comparing it to Vietnam is really...
we don't know. We don't know
enough about... Yeah, we do. We know a lot about the cartels, a lot more than what we did to Viet Cong. That was the problem with Vietnam. We didn't realize how, developed they were militarily and how they fought militarily, whereas we know how the cartel operates. We know most of where they operate, and it would be a much easier
Well,
thing.
here's the issue, though. The cartel, I believe, are the third largest employer in Mexico. We don't know who is going to join into the fray. I mean, you're going to be rendering a lot of people unemployed on both sides of the border, because there's a hell of a lot of Americans that make a ton of money because of what they're doing too. So when you think it's going to just be a small incident, you don't know how many people are going to join in this. You don't know where it's going to spread. You may have to start raiding houses in America. The cartel's tentacles are long. So I don't think you can predict ahead of time it's just going to be a little small event.
I'm not saying it's going to be small. I'm just saying it's not going to be something that would be boots on the ground, say halfway across the world, like Vietnam, as you used yourself, or Ukraine or Israel, like I said. And again, I think the importance of it is that it's something that needs to be done if we're going to solve any kind of drug issues at our border, any kind of grape issues at our border, and trafficking, as far as drugs and human trafficking at our border. It's something that's going to need to be done eventually. It should have been done 30, 40 years ago, right? But it didn't get done. The war on drugs instated by, the Reagans, all that did was inflate the problem. It didn't extinguish the problem, right? It actually helped the cartels.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm totally with you that we need to get the drug problem in this country under control. But what I don't like is we're pretending like it's all cartel oriented. There's a lot of Americans, probably some of the folks, there's probably some MAGA, for instance, that'll work. I mean, these people are not making this happen on their own. There's a whole lot of Americans, whether it's Border Patrol, whether it's folks that are in Homeland Security that are turning a blind eye or working with the cartel, which is why I keep saying this could expand anywhere, because they're not this successful on their own. There's a lot of American assistance involved in what they're doing, and we don't know where that's going to go, because my guess is that, go ahead.
We have it. We've already caught the government helping the cartels. You know, Eric Holder was running guns to Mexico. I mean, come on, where was that going to? That was going to the cartels. Yeah. And you can sit there and say, oh, we were trying to help fight the cartels. Well, if sending guns and ammo doesn't help fight the cartel, because they already have guns and ammo to seize those guns and ammos that you're sending. So you might as well just give it to them. You know?
Well, when you're talking about getting rid of...
They have a lot of military-grade equipment and vehicles.
Yeah, but when you're talking about getting rid of one of the largest employers in Mexico, do we have any plan in place to help out all of those folks that are going to be rendered unemployed? Because we're not letting them here. We're not letting them in this country.
Gainful employment? You think they enjoy their employment?
That ain't what I asked you. They enjoy the money they're getting. They enjoy feeding their family.
No, they don't.
They don't enjoy being able to feed their family either, huh?
No, they don't. I haven't met anyone, I don't think you ever will, that says they're happy to have their job with the cartel.
Okay, so once that cartel is gone and they no longer have any employment at all, you think they'll be better off?
3 major cartels, but yeah.
Huh?
There's 3 major cartels and there's 2 smaller ones. But yeah, the economies will definitely be able to thrive. I mean, the cartels they go in and, you know, they make small businesses there pay just for protection. Who are they protecting themselves from? The cartel.
So you do believe that once the cartels are gone, the citizens are just going to start doing better, and there'll be plenty of, you know, the economy will be strong, they'll be able to feed their family and everything. That'll just happen.
Well, it's going to take time. It's not going to just happen, but it is a lot better and more ideal thing to have than organized crime in place like you're suggesting.
So what happens to the people while that time is formulating? People need to eat. They need somewhere to stay. What's happening to them while that's going on? Are we going to help them out at all in regards to the void we're going to create?
Well, I don't think the cartel controls how they eat and get their food and things like that.
Yeah, it does. It's very similar to Iraq, where we were talking about how negative Saddam Hussein was. We took him out, and now the country's a mess because they're trying to figure out ways to get the country organized in the manner it was when he was around. If you get rid of the cartels, it's going to create voids and problems. You're telling me you don't think nothing's going to happen? You're just going to get rid of this entity that's huge in the country, and everything's just going to be okay?
As long as you put things in place which are above my pay grade to make sure those voids are filled in a positive way, and I think the Mexican government's strong enough to enforce those.
Are we going to help them put those things in place is what I'm asking.
I would sure hope so, because we've definitely helped the cartel put them in a bad place. I think we actually owe it to them, don't you?
And that's what I'm talking about. I got to move it on. We'll see. I don't know when he's talking about Trump, but we'll see. I got to move it on, Texas, though. Thanks for coming through.
Appreciate you. Get your cortisol down.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And real quick in the comments, I did see Will said Trump ain't shit. That is the phrase of the hour. Trump ain't shit. You'll hear that signature tone anytime somebody says somebody is not shit in a super chat. In other words, the excuse is he did snap in full attention and yelling Heil H, Hitler. He basically didn't go full Yahtzee, so it doesn't count. Now, that's an interesting pushback because my last caller was saying, well, he didn't snap his feet. So, in other words, he did part of it, but because he didn't do all of it, it doesn't count. Like what my last caller admitted to, if this was happening on the other side, the right would be holding that person accountable as well. This is not, seeing what we have seen from Elon Musk, where it looks like he's giving some kind of salute. This is not just a bunch of liberals out of their damn mind. Like my last caller readily admitted, if this was on the left, they would see exactly what the right is seeing. I mean, if the left did this, the right would see exactly what the left is seeing. It appears that this dude is giving some kind of salute. I'll leave it at that. The fact that he didn't click his heels, as my last caller was talking about, I don't know if that excuses it or not. I'll let you guys make your decision on that. Sid, appreciate the super chat, says remove AIPAC from American politics. It is weird how American politicians always pledge their support for Israel in every election, and that is true no matter what side of the aisle they're on. Are Americans voting for an Israeli prime minister? I think you said it best with AIPAC. Follow the money. They're voting, they're supporting Israel because they're getting paid out of it. Not to mention Israel is the window to the Middle East. So there's a lot of financial and power value in keeping the Israelis around. And I do believe the Israelis right now are on a power grab. I think 10 years from now, maybe 5 years from now, even, the map will show that Israel has gotten larger. I do believe that they're taking land right now. They'll use probably security, national security as a reason because of what happened where they, ripped through the fence and came over with bulldozers and took a lot of lives on October 7th. So we got to have a bigger border that surrounds our country for national security. So my guess is they'll expand their territory and say it was for national security. And this expansion zone will eventually be colonized and they'll put settlements in there and people will be living in it. So the size of Israel is probably going to grow, Will G says, can you imagine if January 6th rioters actually got through and got to the vice president and the Democrats and got pardoned still? Damn. It was clear Republicans were fine, though. I believe that if the January 6th protesters had got their hands on Mike Pence or Nancy Pelosi, we may not currently be talking to Mike Pence or Nancy Pelosi. The idea that if they got their hands on them, they were just going to all be peaceful and maybe argue with them and just let them be. They didn't even do that to the cops. They were violent to the police officers. But yet the person that you're the most pissed off with, nobody's going to touch that. There's no way I believe that. If they had got their hands on Nancy Pelosi or Mike Pence, those folks would have been in real trouble. If you're going to fight a cop, you'll definitely fight an unarmed old woman. So they would have been in trouble. But I know a lot of MAGA are suggesting that they would have just been peaceful to them and just protesting. No way I'm buying that. After seeing what happened to the cops. And I see J Aviation, pardon P. Diddy, make freak-offs great again. That is insane. Going back to the box, they were searching for Mike Pence and Nancy Pelosi. Yeah, I mean, they were literally walking through the halls saying their name in a very sadistic kind of way. They were literally calling for them. So there's no way to get power back from these crooked billionaires without a Marie Antoinette moment. Is that something similar to Luigi Maggione? Going back to the box, continuing on with the program. Top Dog, good evening. Welcome to the show. So what do you think? You think we got Elon Musk wrong?
No, we don't have him wrong, Tim. And Texas is full of shit.
Well, he said he didn't click
like
his...
you said, he did admit, like you said, he said if it was the other way around, Fox News would go crazy for it. No, we're not going crazy. We see what it is. He's talking about, he didn't click his feet. How would you even know that shit unless you just so into that shit?
I was saying the same thing. I was saying the same thing.
All right, Texas. Okay, Texas. I hear you. Yeah, I like history too. I watched a lot of those documentaries. I watched documentaries too from World War II. I love history too, Tim.
He said, I like history too.
I've never put that together. You hear me? So it made me wonder, all right, okay.
I have never, and I'm the same way. I like history a little bit. I watch a lot of history documentaries. I never knew they clicked the heels. I learned something today for real. I never knew that. That was the first time I ever heard that.
I didn't know that, but now that he said, I think I have kind of seen something like that in a couple of documentaries or something like that, but I just never paid attention to it, honestly.
Yeah, I learned something. I definitely.
Yeah, and when he come back to Elon, and that salute to me, he did it same way the solicitor used to do it. When he was up there giving a speech, he was feeling good, and he was, in the heat of the moment. Guess what he did? He did that type of salute right there.
Yeah, and I will say this in regards to the notion that he did it because he wants to say my heart goes out to you. I mean, if Adolf did the same thing and said my heart goes out to you, does it degrade the slogan? It's still the slogan. Maybe it's the slogan you do when you show that group love. I mean,
well, if you go back to a lot of those documentaries, that's when he was in, and he had that crowd when it might be 40, 50,000 people. That's when he would do it.
Yeah. Now in the comments, Mr. Wondering is responding to what we're talking about, and he says at the time that slogan, that salute had nothing to do with hate.
Well, you're right. At that particular time, back in the 20s, maybe so. But as of today, we know what that stands for. We know why he done that, Tim. Yeah. We know why Elon done that. He's showing a white power. He's showing white superiority. He know what he's doing, and he did it to the crowd that he would get the reaction. He know what he's doing.
Yeah, and
that's one of the smartest mans in the world. He knew what he was doing. That wasn't he was just waving to the crowd. Come on, man. When you wait, come on, stop it. Stop it.
Well, it's having an effect on some of my viewers because Faison Sampson on YouTube says, "Bring H back now." So hey, it's triggering some folks.
You go.
Yeah.
But the people like that that's for that, yeah, they don't see a problem with it. Like a guy like Texas, he don't see a problem with it. He said he sat there and tried to justify what he done and tried to say he didn't click his feet. Man, come on, man, we're not doing all that. You know,
I've never heard that before.
We know why Elon done it, Tim. They got the power right now. They got everything they want right now. They got the power, and who gonna stop him? Who's stopping him?
Yeah. Is it possible? Is it possible? Is it remotely possible though that even though Trump has a hell of a lot of power, that he may use that power for good? It may benefit us all. Is that possible?
Who may use power for good? Trump?
Yeah, the president. Yeah.
Nah, because he's not. I'm going back to what they cried about during the elections. He's worried about doing down at the Panama Canal. I thought we was worried about veterans and homeless people, Tim. Remember, that's what they cried about. What happened? I thought we wanted to, worry about Ukraine and Russia. What happened? We're not even hearing nothing about that shit.
Yeah, I'm curious. Do you think we're going to continue supporting Zelensky in Ukraine?
What I believe what's going to happen, Trump's going to find a way to cut back funding to Ukraine. That's what I hate to say it. That's what I believe. He's going to find a way or just flat out do it. Man, that's enough. That's a wrap. He's not going to I don't believe in my heart he's going to put Putin in a position where it looked like Putin lost. That's all I'm going to say.
Well,
Putin's not going to look, when it all said and done, Putin's not going to look like he tucked his tail and ran.
Well, some would say that Trump has a mandate, and if the people voted him in, he was making it clear he wasn't a big fan of Ukraine the whole time. So, like, one of the things I'll give Trump credit for, and I know didn't count, some of my viewers hate when I say that word or that phrase, but you can't hate on a president for doing what he promised. I know he didn't promise Panama, he wasn't talking about Greenland while he was campaigning, but for the most part, Trump is doing what he actually campaigned on and promised to do. He like it or not, this ain't some shit that's coming up out of the woodwork. This is exactly what he campaigned on. Does he not deserve credit for that?
Well, no, just because you campaign on something, you win, and you say you're gonna do something, just like releasing the people from January the 6th. Just because you campaign on it, you're doing that, don't make it right in my eyes. Nah. Do I believe all those people should be locked up for all that time? Nah, but the people that actually did the damage and caused havoc down there, yeah. They shouldn't just be able to walk away from their crime. Nah.
Yeah, they actually...
If you was a person sitting outside and you never went inside the building, but you was out there, you raised a little hell, and you've been in jail 2, 3, 4, 5 years, yeah.
I'd be curious. I don't believe there's any cases of that. Because I think you would hear from Trump, if there were extreme examples like that where somebody was just outside waving a MAGA flag and yelling something and they got 5 years in prison or something, I think Trump would produce that like Lincoln Rally or something. The fact that he ain't producing stuff like that, I don't believe anybody got a wild sentence like that.
Well, there you go then. So just because you campaign on something and you sticking to your word don't mean it's right.
Yeah. But
I asked one of my MAGA friends today, my Army buddy, I asked him, I said, well, how would you feel if Kamala or would have released all BLM rioters for whatever reason? Yeah, you wouldn't have liked that.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have liked it at all. So, they go right now, Trump got the juice right now, The Democrats, we not mad. We not mad. We just know he full of shit. We know that. We not mad.
What if he actually... is there anything that Trump... I'm going to ask you what I asked my first caller to Keisha. Is there anything that Trump could do to sway you over to him? Maybe, reduce the price of groceries, cost of living. Is there anything he could do that would make him become more appealing to you?
2 words, Tim. Hell no.
Nothing. I mean, come on now. My viewers are going to say...
Let me tell you something, Tim. When a person show you who they are, no matter what you do after the fact, you already showed me who you are. So just because you come back in and try to clean things up and try to be nice, and you already showed me what type of person you was.
You say when a person, that's the whole Maya Angelou quote. So when you're saying a person shows you who they are, believe them. If somebody asks you to describe what kind of person Trump is, what say you?
Oh, he's one word: the devil.
Damn. What? Come on. You know, Takesha said the same thing. You guys are really comparing this man to
Trump. You know, I mean, Trump is who he is. To me, what he is, what he's turned into, the signature of a white power, a white man, white power. We stand up for the. He don't care about no other community but white people. That's who Trump. That's who he is to this day. Maybe he wasn't there 20 years ago, but today that's who he is.
This is the man that has openly stated he's done more for blacks than anybody since Abraham Lincoln. Where are you getting your statement from?
Well, once again, Tim, just because somebody say something don't mean it's true.
Yeah. But what has he done to make you think he has an issue with black folks in modern time? What has he really done that's that bad?
Well, like I told my buddy today. Well, one thing, when you keep showing me that you don't care for black people, look at your cabinet. I try to start fresh with it. Look at this cabinet.
Yeah.
You mean to tell me there's not one person that's black that was qualified? I got my buddy, man. He got 3 degrees. He worked for the state of DC down there. Got a state job. I mean, he got military. I told him he's a black man. I told him you're qualified, and Trump wouldn't even hire you.
But I gotta push back. Let me defend Trump from this angle. You've seen what happened when rapper Nelly or Snoop Dogg performed for him, or back in the day when Steve Harvey tried to reach out to him, or Ice Cube. The whole black community attacked those folks. Snoop Dogg is taking a lot of flack all over social media for performing. So let's say your buddy who's educated. Do you see where maybe Trump would like to extend an olive branch to the black community, but very few blacks will work with him because they face so much backlash from the black community? Maybe there's not a lot of people that would work with him.
Well, even if it's a little people, he still can bring some up, because there's some people out there that is qualified that will go work in his office. He got black Republicans. It's more than enough black Republicans, like I always tell you. What about your boy Tim Scott and Byron Donalds?
Yeah, but you gotta think black Americans, what are we, like 13-15% of the population? But when you talk about black Trump supporters, out of his total number, I doubt if 13% of Trump supporters are black. It's probably lower than that. So I get your point about you should be able to find somebody of color that's qualified for some of your cabinet positions, but you would literally have to go look for them. You would literally have to operate from a DEI standpoint, or however that goes. You would have to literally look for them, because you're going to have a slew of white people trying to get that position. And you have to go out of your way to find somebody black, because there are not a lot of blacks looking to join this cabinet.
Well, once again, Tim, you listen what you heard I just said. You got 2 right there that you're not hiring. They're right there. That's showing me as an individual on the outside, yeah, you don't fuck with my type of people. You got 2 qualified people that went to bat for you, that rode for you, that was down for you, and you haven't did nothing for those people. You have not. You put Vivek Ramaswamy in a position. He just came on the scene 2 years ago. Yeah,
Vivek doing big things. Vivek about to be governor of Ohio. He doing big things. He got out of Doge for obvious reasons. I think that hanging around Elon is like you're gonna get overshadowed so much. If him and Elon Musk, if Elon and Vivek are running this Department of Government Efficiency or whatever it's called together, if there is a difference of opinion between Vivek and Elon, and they have to go talk to Trump, Elon is going to always be the favorite. So my guess is Vivek realized, this is just some coattails type shit, where I can go run a whole state and be the boss.
Well, there you go. That's exactly why Trump gave even Vivek, even though he's my skin tone too. I like you, but I'll put you over in the number 2 job over there.
Wow. Which
I know it's not gonna work. You know why? Because y'all 2 alpha males. Y'all both want to run shit the way y'all want to run shit.
I don't think Vivek Ramaswamy is an alpha male. To me, he is.
Yeah, he is. I'm gonna tell you why. Tim, he's a billionaire. He has to be. He has to be. He feel like Elon can't tell him shit. He look at Elon. You can't tell me shit. I got money too.
If you're in the Trump administration, unless you are President Trump, in my opinion, Elon can tell you shit, because I think Elon is probably the closest. He is literally the closest to Trump. If Elon has a problem and he goes to Trump, I think Trump is going to work on Elon's side to solve that problem, even if it's coming from J.D. Vance or any of them. I think Elon Musk is number 2.
Well, Elon Musk just showed everybody in the world what money can do. You buy your way into power. That's what he did. He used his money, donated at $300, $400 million, and now I'm standing right next to the powerful man in the world right now. Yeah. And I got this man right next to me that would do anything I asked him to do. Yeah. Shit, he used his money wisely. He wasn't stupid. He bought his way into power.
I can't hate on that.
To me, Tim, he got a little more power than Trump. Because he can. I'm gonna tell you why. Because he can move around and do what he want to do.
Yeah, he doesn't have the law. You don't have the law.
His money make him powerful around the world in any country.
I don't deny that. Yeah, I don't. And I can see.
They both got power, but Elon, his money made him a little bit more powerful. He can move. He can. What he can do. He can change a whole lot of shit. He can make the midterms all go Democrat if he wanted to. He can fund everybody on the opposite side.
And that's what he is doing. Is he is threatening
and in any country, not just American, any country.
Yeah, he is actually threatening to primary folks if they don't fall in line and literally bankroll the opposition. So if you're a congressman and you're not going with Trump, we'll find somebody to run against you and we'll pay to fund their campaign. He is literally talking about doing that.
There you go. That's what I'm saying. So he has a lot of power. He bought his way into power, which I'm not mad at him. And, we're going to see how this go for the next 4 years. So,
well, it sounds like you disagree with one of my viewers. Timman says Elon shows what hard work can do.
I mean, he worked hard to get to where, I give it to him. I'm not going to knock him. Hell yeah, he worked hard. He came from the bottom and made his way to the top, to the richest man in the world. You can't say he didn't work hard. He worked his ass off and he got there. And he got lucky. And he got lucky too.
Yeah, you don't get to be where he is in without a little bit of luck in there. So Elon, I mean, now I've been asking this before earlier on some of the other lives. Currently, there's no law that allows Elon Musk to run for president, but that's not to say if you could get a super-majority or something, they may not try to change the Constitution to make that happen. Do you see any possibility of that?
Nah, I don't think he would want to. I have more power I'm more powerful than a president. Think about that. He's more powerful than a president, so why I need to step down to go run and be confined into Congress and the Senate, and I can't go this way, I can't go that way, I can't say this, I can't say that. I'd rather be a free thinking and keep moving the way I've been. I'm the richest man in the world. I don't want to have nothing locking me down. The office of the U.S. president would lock me down. I would have to conform somewhat to the traditions and all that. Where right now I can just do what I want to do and hang with the president.
Fair enough. Before I'm moving on, now that we do have, our president does have the world's richest man on his side, the world's second richest man, Jeff Bezos. I don't know where the Facebook guy, Mark Zuckerberg, falls in that, but he's got to be in the top 5. So my question is, now that we've got so many billionaires on the side of the president, is it possible that might be a good thing for America?
Well, we would think it would be, but most of the time when this happens, all they're going to do is line their pockets. And the people and worry about their people and their people. They're not gonna take care of the whole America, me and you, and then the next people all on TikTok. No. We're gonna get in office and we're gonna make our team and our people rich.
Well, maybe they can bring down the price of eggs in the interim. I gotta move it on, Top Dog. Appreciate you coming through. Right. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, moving on. And we got so many billionaires in the White House or in the administration or close to the administration. I'm just wondering, these are people that could throw us a bone and make a big difference in our lives. I mean, if you just take the collective wealth of Musk, Elon, Zuckerberg, that's got to be, getting close to $1 trillion. Just those three men. It's got to be starting to get pretty close to $1 trillion, would it not? Well over $500 billion. Wow. So, like I said, just you don't have to. They don't have to do much for you because just a little bit can make a big difference in our lives. I don't know. Trump could seem like he would be in position to make a lot of shit happen if he could just get small amounts from them. Hell, we'll see. But anyway, moving on to the program. Trump had the most wealthy. Yeah, he has the most wealthy cabinet in history, says Miss Obvious. Your name measures up to that. He has the most wealthy cabinet in history. That is true. Elon Musk is from Africa. He's the man. Well, if you're going to bring up he's from Africa, I always bring up the late Nelson Mandela and all of the apartheid that took place in South Africa where he's from. Because he's claiming this salute has something to do with Asperger's syndrome or something like that. I've never heard that giving this salute is part of one of the conditions of having Asperger's syndrome. I don't know. But apartheid coming out of South Africa is where he was born. So we'll see. Going back to the box, I don't know what I'm looking at there. Your voice sounds like crazy Howard McGee. Cut. Is he still on the radio there, Miss Portia? Crazy Howard McGee on WGCI. I don't think he's around anymore, is because they syndicated. Wow, somebody said, you got to be from Chicago to know that. Crazy Howard McGee. His father owned a mine and was an apartheid supporter. Yeah. So, and he's from that area. I'm just going to say, now you're saying that the father of Elon Musk owned a mine and he was in favor of apartheid. I don't know anything about it, so I can't speak on it. But they say the same thing about Trump's dad, is that Trump's dad was not favorable to minorities either. Those are both speculation, but that is what folks say, is that both of these individuals are like that. I heard they took the Spanish read off the White House website. Really? So when you go to whitehouse.gov, there is no, for people who speak Spanish, there would normally be a page you could go if you don't speak English. I haven't seen that, but I gotta say, if they did do that, that looks like hate in my opinion. Why would you do that? That just looks like hatred towards folks that don't speak English or folks that are Hispanic. I have not seen it, but that does. Mr. Walter White says go home. I haven't seen it. Let me go back to the box before I do. I want to make sure I didn't miss any super chats. But if they took the Spanish language off the whitehouse.gov, and here's the reason why I say that, because some folks would respond, well, if you're in America, you should know English or whatever the case may be. We have such a large Hispanic population in America. It's literally our second largest population. I don't see any other reason for that community. And you do it on day one, that to me just sounds like hatred towards the Spanish community, if that is true. I haven't seen it, I can't verify it, but if that is true, that just looks like hatred. Joseph Bearpaw says they did, and Women's Health site was shut down. How many of you guys think, I'm gonna go to the box, but just by way of yes or no in the comments, by way of yes or no, how many of you folks think that the Project 2025 is real? Because this is some of the stuff that people were claiming that was on there. By way of yes or no in the comments, going back to the box. Good evening, Lewis. Welcome to the program. It's the same old bullshit, says Billy Buckeye. Same old bullshit in what relation? Lewis, good evening.
Hey, how's it going, Tim?
Not too bad at all. I'm going all right. So we're in day 2 of Trump. Have you seen anything that looks good that you're favoring? I mean, how is these a lot of executive orders on day 1? What's your scope? How you like
everything he done? I'm in favor of, because they get exactly what they asked for. I'm telling you right now, they getting exactly. I wouldn't expect nothing more. None of this is going to pan out, of course, but he's doing exactly what he told him he was going to do. So my thing is, if you're disappointed, then it's because you're not a fan. But my thing is that he's doing exactly what he promised his people he would do.
But is that not a good thing to have a politician that tries to actually meet their promises? I mean, they promise and they try to deliver. Isn't that what you should do?
Not with this crazy shit. I mean, there's no. The thing of it is that this is the thing, Tim.
Okay.
None of them are expecting when Trump says some of the stuff he says for it to really come to fruition. You know what I mean?
I don't know, but give me an example. What is he saying that nobody expects to come to fruition?
Like, nobody's expecting him to actually deport 1 million people.
Really?
No way. We've done it before, and I still don't think that's going to happen. But I think he's going to try. They're definitely going to try to do it. What he don't understand is that we deport criminals. We deport illegals every day in this country.
I don't know. I'd have to sit down with a calculator or something like that to see if you take 1 million over the span of 48 months, what is the number per month? But I'm gonna push back on you in defense of Trump and say that 1 million is possible. I mean, even let's say it's 500,000 or 750,000 or something. I actually believe there's going to be a lot of deportations under Trump. I don't know if it's going to be the million, because remember Obama was the deporter in chief. I don't know how many folks Obama was estimated to deport, but I think Trump will beat that. And whether it's a million or not, or whatever the number is, I think at the end of the day, if he ends up because he promised the largest deportation in history, so if he beats Obama, he's delivered. And my guess is he's going to do that.
It's going to kill our economy, though, Tim.
That's not the concern. The concern is getting bad hombres out of the country. The economy takes a backseat to that.
Who's determining bad hombres?
Trump and the people that voted for him.
But he let 1,500 bad hombres out of jail today.
Those were hostages.
Oh, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is that he doesn't. How does he know how to identify bad hombres? He just let 1,500 out day two.
Well, one way to defend a bad hombre is they've been in a tanning booth too long. I think that's pretty easy to do. There's a difference between the January 6th hostages and immigrants. You can kind of see that.
Yeah, I just want to say this, and I'm definitely going to go back to Texas here. Texas to me is just a guy, and he's called in on you before. I've heard you talk to him before.
Yeah.
He makes too many excuses for bad behavior. He's a Nazi. He's a white supremacist.
Try not to use that word because the app doesn't like it.
I got you. But my thing is that I have never. I'm straight up military. I went in the military when I was 18, almost 19 years old, and stayed in the military for 21 years. And I never thought of the clicking of the heels as part of the salute.
So you didn't know it either. So I wasn't. I'm not an idiot. So
I know they did it, but I don't think it's relevant. I've seen people give a salute when they were walking.
Yeah.
So you can't. And how do you know that Elon Musk didn't click his heels when he was standing at a podium where you couldn't see his feet?
Let me see the video. That's a good point. Let me see if I can bring it up real quick here.
And when you look at his true history, his family started with the apartheid. His family is definitely they're definitely anti-brown people. You know what I'm saying? So he's known to be a Squat C sympathizer. There's no question about it. He's known.
Now in regards to what you're saying, I got some Elon defenders in the comments. One guy saying you cannot call him a supremacist, that's ignorant. Another guy says this guy calling is ridiculous and referring to him as trash. Why are you calling him a supremacist? Give me your spiel.
Because I'm going back off of his family history. His family history says that he was brought up that way, and definitely Donald Trump was too. Donald Trump's dad was part of the Triple K. You know what I'm saying? So we have to go with family history.
But you can't. I mean, my dad was wait, hold on. My dad died from smoking crack too much. My dad is a crack addict, but I've never tried any damn thing. I haven't even tried alcohol. So you can't go by what somebody's dad did.
Yeah, but you can't. But if you're raised to be a certain way and you don't have a problem with it, why would you? You'd have a problem with your dad being a crackhead. You know what I'm saying? So that would definitely be a warning for you not to do that. It's not the same. It's not the same. That's a bad example right there, Tim.
So you're telling me that if your father, if someone's father is intolerant or bigoted, that means the son will be too.
No, I said you grow up and you become that. You got to figure where did Elon Musk start out at? Do you know what country he was first a citizen in?
I know he was in Canada as well.
No, he was first in
South Africa. Yeah, South Africa.
His family got chased out of South Africa because they were part of the apartheid.
Okay.
They got chased out of there.
Yeah, the black folks started taking their land back.
Absolutely. And not only that, they were also part of the diamond raids where they were doing the diamond, where they were raided. His family was part of the diamond.
Like the blood
raiders,
diamond stuff.
Absolutely. And then he moved to Canada. And then he came to the United States, and this is when he became a citizen. He started working in the United States before he was legally supposed to be doing it.
Are you telling me he was an illegal immigrant? He was an illegal immigrant?
Absolutely. He was an illegal immigrant himself. So, my thing is that, so a lot of things, it's like, You got to figure Trump's youngest son is a anchor baby. Trump is an anchor baby.
Well, wait a minute. When Barron was born to Melania, apparently they don't like what you just said. Did Melania Trump already have citizenship when Barron was born?
I think she probably did by the time he was born. We don't know.
Then he's not an anchor baby.
I don't know
if
exactly.
both mom and dad was a U.S. citizen, then
I'm not sure if she was or not.
In the comments, everybody is saying no, she was not a citizen when Barron was born. So then, yeah, she would be an example of he would be an example of an anchor baby.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm not going to accuse him of that because I'm not 100% sure on that. But to me, I don't think of it that way. I go with what our Constitution says. It says all persons born is an American citizen. So if you're born here, to me, you're an American citizen. That's what, because it says all persons. It doesn't matter if your parents were citizens or not. If you're born here, you are an American citizen.
Well, it appears as if they've came in and they're gonna close the door behind them to prevent people from coming in the same way they came in.
And that's the same way I feel about everybody keep blaming Mexico. And I'm gonna tell you something right now. Mexican people ain't trying to come to America no more. Mexico's doing fine.
I don't know about fine,
and number one, Mexico does not have a drug problem. America has a drug problem.
So they're not getting high off their own supply.
It's absolutely not. And there's no way that money that they're bringing in, that the Mexican government's going to say, stop giving it to us. Do you hear what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what I asked my last caller. I'm like, you get rid of the cartel, you're going to create a financial void in Mexico.
At big time, we did it in Nicaragua. That's why you think those South American countries are falling apart, because we went down there and we killed them. We did the same thing in Colombia. We did the same thing in all those countries. And that's when the cartels came in there. We did the same thing in Iraq.
Yeah.
America went in there and took out those leaders, and the country just went to crap.
Yeah, you're essentially destabilizing the country. I mean, you're taking something out and replacing it with replacing nothing, so that everybody that's left behind are all fighting to fill the void.
You open the door. You open the door for the cartels when you do that.
Yeah.
Just like you open the doors for terror groups, I should say. You open the doors for that when you go in and you destabilize a country, because that's all they have left.
And that's what I was asking. And that's what I was asking my last caller when he was giving Trump credit for going after the cartels. I'm like, are we prepared to do anything for the mess we leave behind? And I don't feel confident that Trump would do anything for Mexico. He'll just get rid of the cartels and leave it at that.
Let me tell you something. The Mexican government, the new woman governor, she says she would take Americans military come into her country as an invasion, and it would be an act of war.
Does she want to do that with Trump? I mean,
yeah, that's what she said. And I'm gonna tell you something. I'm 100% behind her on that, because if we just invade without them saying it's okay for us to come over there and do that, then it's an invasion. No matter.
Well, it is. Wait, make no mistake about it. If you are engaging in sorties or missions on a sovereign nation without their permission, it is an act of war. You can't just go blow up shit in somebody else's country. But this guy's already talking about Greenland, Canada, Panama. Do you really want? I mean, he obviously is ready to go to war. So fucking around in Mexico. He's already talking about naming Mexico. He's already talking about naming the Gulf of Mexico. Before you know it, he'll be talking about naming the country of Mexico if they do that.
He's thinking about changing the name of the Panama Canal too. But my thing is
really?
Here.
Did he say that?
Yeah, he wants to call it something, the United States Canal or some crazy crap like that. But my thing is like this though. Is check this out, Sam. This is the funny part about it, is that if we go into Mexico without their permission, running Saudis and trying to take out the cartel, it's just not going to happen. It's not even feasible for us to think that possibly can happen.
I don't know. I mean, you get cartel members to snitch on each other, or you get one cartel and let them know we'll let you function and we're going to give you arms. I mean, we're okay with one cartel being behind. I mean, you get them to fight against each other. I don't know. I think we could do a whole lot of damage.
My thing don't understand. My thing don't get it like it's right here. The Mexican government has a formidable army themselves, and they don't go after the cartels. What are they gonna just tell you? You can come over there and go after them?
Well, make no mistake about it. It wouldn't be the first time America promised to do something, got people to trust us, and then lied to them. Remember, they rose up against Saddam Hussein, and then we left, and he started killing his own people because they had listened to us. I mean, we do that. So it would not surprise me if we tried to convince one cartel to fight against another, making them promises, right, and then we just left once they did what we wanted.
Yeah. Well, my thing is like it's right here. What we need to do is we need to get our addiction under control, and then that will stop the supply and demand. The supply and demand is never going to change if we still have all these people walking around on this lean and on this fentanyl and all this different stuff going on. So my thing is we have to get ourselves under control before we can start worrying about what's coming across our border. And they're coming across our border because of the demand. Sugarcane ain't illegal in the United States, is it?
Sugarcane, really? Why not?
Yeah, we import a lot of that from overseas, and because nobody cares about sugarcane.
Yeah.
When the last time you ate a piece of sugarcane?
As a kid, I remember my dad giving me some as a kid. It was good. I would love to get my hands on some of that. It was actually pretty good. But that was as a little young boy, I had that.
My thing about like this, though, if you'd have stayed down there and kept on eating that sugarcane, your teeth be done fell out your mouth too, and you'd be walking around here looking like a crackhead too. So my thing is that
I never thought of that.
But my thing is that but we learn as we go along. That we have to get our addiction under control. We need to stop trying to control other countries. We need to get our own addictions. We've had too many failures trying to go into other countries and change their way of life.
Yeah, too much money to be made in getting that addiction under control. Too many people in this country are making a fortune.
I'm telling you right now, even if you stopped any drugs from coming across the southern border, and trust me, most of it is not coming across the southern border. It's coming through the New York ports and the Philadelphia ports. That's
from where?
Because from China.
Oh, most of you think like fentanyl you're talking about then, right?
Absolutely,
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've heard
fentanyl. That. I mean, my thing is like this here. What I'm saying is that they're going to always be the supply is going to always be where the demand is. The demand is here in the United States. If the demand stopped in the United States, those guys are still going to sell drugs somewhere else.
But do you think it's wrong that at least Trump is trying to pay homage to it at least a little bit? Do you think this is that the fact that he is trying to address it, do you give him credit for that at all?
No, because I think it's just a farce. I think he's just doing it because he knows how much Americans hate that. Trust me, fentanyl's not that big in our community, Tim.
I wouldn't know.
Fentanyl and opiates are big in the white community, white tea community. Mm-hmm. And now all of a sudden it's an epidemic instead of what they call it when we had it, the crack.
A crime when we was dealing with it. It was a fucking crime. When we were, you talking about crack, it was considered a schedule 1 or whatever. I mean, it was a crime. They do treat drug addiction differently when it's minorities. When it's minorities, they're criminals and thugs. It's an actual mental illness when it's the white community.
Right, absolutely. Now it's a mental health issue. Put it that way. And my thing is that's just phony. But I love what you're doing. I hope Trump keeps doing what he's doing. Those executive orders were off the chain.
Yeah.
And he just broke the mold today when he released those
the hostages. The hostages.
I mean,
the hostages.
You got to give him his props. You got to say this mug don't care what you think.
Well, before I got to move it on, but I will just say this. Like I said, it ain't a matter of not caring what people think. He said he was going to do it. He's making songs with them. You go to the Trump rally, a few of his rallies, they say, please rise for the national anthem. And it's Trump and the January 6th hostages that sing the national anthem so everybody knew this guy had full intentions of pardoning these people, and they elected him. So you can't hate on Trump. He made the promise. You elected him. He kept the promise.
Yep, Biden pardoned a lot of people. I think he could have did more, but my thing is that Biden. I mean, all presidents have. He has every right to do what he did. That's all I'm saying. I think he has every right to pardon whoever he wants to. Do I think it's right? No.
All right, fair enough. All right, Lewis, appreciate you coming through.
All right, man.
Thank you. All right, moving on with the program, and I'm asking you guys to tap the screen. I haven't asked that really at all tonight. Tap the screen, get the likes up to about. We could probably make it 30,000. I think if you guys tap the screen, show the program some love, let your thumbs not be lazy. By the way, for my TikTok viewers or my YouTube viewers as well, if you enjoy civilized dialogue from all sides of the aisle, we don't block, ban, or censor anyone, by the way. We are MAGA friendly. Make no mistake about it. We don't try to dictate how anybody should talk. So if you enjoy a program where we go left of Bernie Sanders to having dinner with Q, and we are MAGA friendly, you're in the right place. Feel free to follow the program on TikTok and subscription on YouTube, if you will. And I think it's following on Instagram. We are on Instagram Live currently, but as I continue to work on how to use it, but yeah, if you're on Instagram, feel free to follow the program there. We can take callers on Instagram. I just got to figure out when they come through. Looking in the comments, Enrique says Mexico has lithium, which Trump wants. Greenland has materials or resources that. So what are you thinking? That you think that Trump is trying to go around the world exploiting people for their resources? I mean, I don't know, but that really sounds like some colonization type shit. The ADL actually said they saw nothing Elon did wrong. Who is the ADL? American something disabilities? Who are the ADL, Will? What are those? Somebody let me know the acronyms Alpha Delta Lima. He's saying that the ADL actually said they saw nothing Elon did wrong. Anti-Defamation League. Oh, so the Anti-Defamation League does not see what Elon did as a tribute to the Third Reich. I'd have to see it. I'd have to look that up. I have not heard that. Well, I guess that would. Elon got so much money though. I'm just speculating. I'm just tossing this out there. This could completely be misinformation. So I'm gonna make that clear to you. This is just me, tossing something out there. When this guy got that much money, for all we know, he may have talked to somebody at the ADL and told them, I need a good report. I'm in trouble. I mean, it's Elon Musk. I don't know. I'm just saying that. But Elon Musk can buy people off. I just feel confident this is the guy that can buy people off. He bought his way into Washington. It would not surprise me if he was able to pick up the phone and tell somebody at the ADL, hey, how you doing? This is Elon Musk. I'm sure you've heard me in the news lately. I got a problem on my hands. I need to talk to somebody. Surely you guys got a fundraiser or something coming up, right? I got a problem. I need, can I get a statement? Can I get some release? Money can make shit happen. I'm telling you, money can make shit happen. And guaranteed the ADL, the American Defamation League, they raise money. They need funding. Guaranteed. So I'm just simply saying it ain't beyond the scope of possibility that you could pay somebody to release a statement that's favorable to you. If you can pay a doctor to write you unlimited prescriptions of Schedule I narcotics, Michael Jackson, Prince, and some of these, you can get somebody at the Anti-Defamation League to put what you need to be put on company stationery. You can get it to happen. Will G says, talk about petty Trump. Oh my God, I did hear about this. Because I actually got it written down in the notes. But Will cut it out first before I was going to bring it up. He says, talk about petty. Trump took Michael Bolton's Secret Service detail away for being critical. How many of you folks heard that? Michael Bolton was the ambassador on Trump's first presidency. Now, Michael Bolton he got fired by Trump during his first administration. And he's been critical of Trump ever since. He's been all over a little bit. Fox News is not very favorable to anybody that's critical of Trump. So if you get to be too critical of Trump, they're going to get rid of you. So he ended up going to CNN. And he's been very critical of Trump since being fired by the Trump administration. Now, he's the one that the Iranians were trying to assassinate, because when Trump took out Soleimani a well-respected general in Iran. They were looking for some get back on the United States, and they were targeting Ambassador Bolton. And our Defense Department told him, there's a hit out on you. Well, Trump, now that he's president again, removed Secret Service protection for Ambassador Bolton. So this guy, according to the CNN reporters, they said every time you see this guy, he has a lot of security around him, Secret Service detail, because there's a hit. Can you imagine a state-sponsored hit on your life? Now, we see what happened in Pennsylvania with Trump. If that was a state-sponsored hit, the guy on the roof would be an expert, and it would probably be 2 or 3 of them, and Trump would no longer be around. State-sponsored is pretty accurate. I mean, because they got the power of the whole damn country behind them. Now, they want Ambassador Bolton. Now, Ambassador Bolton, to the average American nowadays, ain't nobody special. I mean, he had a Secret Service detail because they told him his life was, and Trump removed that. Trump took his Secret Service detail away. Now, I agree with Will in regards to that being petty, but that's also dangerous. I mean, what happens if all of a sudden there's a hit on Ambassador Bolton? I mean, Trump would literally be directly responsible for that, but that really shows that if you fuck with Trump, he's coming for you. So anybody who suggests that Biden did not need to pardon those people, I'm going to give you Ambassador Bolton as an example of why he did. I mean, he removed the guy's security detail. It's not costing the taxpayers that much money to do some shit like that. Well, you've received actual reports from the Defense Department that the Iranian government is trying to take him out. And you remove his Secret Service detail? And you're going to tell me Biden didn't need to issue those pardons? I don't know. I don't feel confident about that. Anyhow, continuing on, Joseph Hernandez. Hell no, this dude would not give him credit. Instead of being in agreement that we have a problem with illegals, gangs, and drugs, he is against fixing it. I don't know. I mean, I guess so. I haven't had my liberal guests do not tend to want to give Trump credit on much. Look, if Trump can, I'm fine with getting rid of the cartels because they are responsible for a lot of carnage. I'm not fine with getting rid of the cartels and leaving Mexico with this Mexico or whatever country the cartels are in with these huge voids. So I'm partially with Trump on this and with some criticism. If you're not going to do anything for this country once you create this void, then I don't think you're doing him a huge favor. We'll see, but I don't believe he is. Anyhow, continuing on, Will G says Trump ain't shit. You know what that means. He took the clearances away from Intel officials who told him Hunter's laptop was fake and Russian disinformation. Fired the commander of the Coast Guard for DEI. I did hear about the Coast Guard guy getting fired. I think it's hard to argue that Trump's not vindictive. Here's what I think is why you have so much cooperation from the Republican Congress and the Republican Senate for Trump. All of these examples we're naming. Ambassador Bolton, he's talking about, General Milley, what would have happened to him. Liz Cheney, another well-respected Republican. I think they can see the writing on the wall that if you go against this guy, really bad shit will happen to you. And I'm talking about maybe even beyond destroying your career. You might lose your life. I mean, Ambassador Bolton is guaranteed to be less safe today than he was before Trump got elected. Guaranteed. So you're going to get a lot of folks that are going to follow behind you, or at the very least be hesitant to criticize you when you're acting so harshly on the ones that do. That's pretty brutal what he did to Ambassador Bolton, removing the guy's Secret Service detail when you've received official notice that the nation of Iran is trying to take his life in response to something you did. You took out Soleimani. You went around the country bragging about it. And now this poor guy is the one they want to take out as get back to what you did. And you're going to remove his Secret Service detail. Wow. John Bolton, Ambassador Bolton. Yeah, not Michael Bolton is one of them is a singer, but yeah, Ambassador Bolton, Mike, not the sax player, my bad. Yeah, Ambassador, but let's go with Ambassador. I know you're talking about, the guy with the thick mustache. Because the Iranians refer to him as the mustache man. I don't know why TikTok's, we may have to reset TikTok, but apparently, let me see what happened here. They don't got mad with TikTok for some reason. Let's see what happens here. I got to look at it. I may have to file an appeal on TikTok. TikTok still censors a lot. Let me see what they're asking me to do here. Yeah, I guess I had to file an appeal or some shit. I don't know what's going on. Otherwise, we'll just do the show as is. Let me see if I can bring. This is the second time Trump has done this. Yeah, he did remove his detail last time he was president as well, and Joe Biden put it back. But what he is doing, to me, that's the definition of petty. To take away somebody's Secret Service detail, that's awful. And like I said, it could get somebody killed. Let me see if I can bring up my guest on Instagram. Will, he ain't shit. He says, Will, he ain't shit. He's your president. Well, your president could be that way too. I mean, just because, a lot of folks did not think that Barack Obama was shit or that Bill Clinton. No matter who you are, there's going to be a large part of the voting constituency that thinks you're not shit. A lot of people think that Trump is not shit. So there you go. Real quick in the comments, TikTok went out. Yeah, it did. And I'm not going to be able to bring it up unless they take the appeal through. So somebody was hating on my last caller. You're saying fuck Trump too much on TikTok, says Alter Ego. I never said fuck Trump once. I never said it once, but I am reading the comments. At the end of the day, that's how the program has been ran. There's the appeal. Let me see if it went ahead and put it in. We'll see what happens. But looking at the comments, Trump's mom immigrated to America. Yeah. Was it Germany? They're from he has German ancestry, right? All right. Can you change the topic? The deflection is over. The swearing is done. You have 4 years to dealing with such petty behavior and bullying. Well, let me repeat that again. This is coming from Agri Baker. You says, can you change the topic? The deflection is over. Elaborate on what do you mean by deflection? Most topics we present, somebody deflects. Left, right, you name it. Deflection is what happens. Before I bring up the next guest, let me see what I'll try to. You say the deflection is over. The deflection is over. The swearing is done. You have 4 years to do. I don't understand how when Trump won, the mindset is, look, Trump won, get over it. But that same mindset did not exist when Biden won. 4 years ago, right now, nobody was saying, okay, he's our president. I was receiving Q drops saying that as of February, Nancy Pelosi was going to be arrested by the military and Trump was going to be reinstated. So all of a sudden, now you want peace and harmony. Good evening.
Hey, what's up? Can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear. This is MAGA Reacts. Who did I get?
Yeah.
Okay.
I finally got to use my own account this time. And
okay,
fair. Buddies.
Fair enough. So you got literally dozens of executive orders coming from Trump. How are they looking so far to you? You agreeing with most of them?
Yeah, so far so good. Maybe 1 and 2 seems odd, but I gotta wait to see the results of the actual, the final results of the executive order to see how it comes out.
Now, with a name like MAGA Reacts, you see something that looks odd. I'm gonna definitely ask you to elaborate on it because you favorite Trump. What have you seen at all that looks odd from him?
I can't tell you off the top of my head. I gotta look at the list, but the birthright stuff is kind of the one I'm looking at. What is his goal with it? As far as I'm concerned, I want to just end anchor babies, and I want you to at least be in the country over a year or 2 before your baby could count as a. So
what if I'm here undocumented? I'm an illegal immigrant, and I'm hiding in the shadows for a year, and I give birth at that point. Should the baby be an American?
You better take some pictures to prove you've been here more than a year.
Well,
I mean, take care of it when you get caught.
Well, it could be a case of maybe my employer or maybe my neighbor say this person's been living next door to me for a year. Would that work? If they get a notarized signature to say, Susie's been living next door to me for a year, I can tell you she was here.
Yeah, I mean, one, you can submit this shit online without having to come in and deal with,
Didn't he take that down? Didn't they take the app down of that?
We're talking about something new here, like some new shit where, like, to prove that your baby's American, not our current situation where you need help getting into the country.
Okay. And hang on real quick before a minute, because I'm talking for you folks that are listening to MAGA Reacts. He's on Instagram. We do take callers on Instagram as well. But just to let you know, TikTok is back up. So if you were on TikTok, that feed is back up. So we are on all of the platforms. But so
you want me to go back to TikTok?
No, you're good right where you are. You're good here. You're good here. So now, in addition to that, I was about to ask you about, what the hell was I about to ask you about? I'm having a Biden moment now after I interrupted to say about TikTok.
We usually talk about DEI or the January 6 people that he just let out.
That's how do you feel about the hostages being released, the so-called hostages?
I feel good. I mean, most of them served their time, and this is more semantics than anything. And, even at their worst, I don't think any of them deserve more than like 4 years in jail and what they've been through and all the money they waste. This stuff ain't cheap. They have to fight, go to court, and I think they've been punished enough. And I don't think anyone like that did the BLM riots has been punished more than these people.
Well, when you're talking about taking out the vice president, they're going to punish you a little bit more than burning up a CVS.
What do you mean? No, you actually burned the CVS. They didn't take out a vice president, and that was more free speech than actually wanting to do it.
You really believe breaking into the
people that were chanting that were the same ones that went into the Capitol. You're taking pieces from probably,
You really believe breaking into the Capitol building and chanting that you want to take out the VP, take out the vice president? That's just. What did you call it?
Chanting was done everywhere, though. I don't think it was even specifically done inside the Capitol. I don't even know if it's done at all inside the Capitol. As far as I remember from what I've seen, that was chanting done outside by the protesters.
What about trying to take an officer's pistol?
Yeah, no, that one you should stay in jail.
Okay, so in other words,
I would be upset about. I don't know about that, but if that's the case, I'm with you.
What about stunning an officer over and over again with a stun gun?
Yeah, again, that one I wouldn't. Well, again, how much punishment have they received, and how much? I mean, what did Trump remove here? What did
Wait.
But again, I'm with you on that one. That's
so. In other words, Trump did pardon some people, even in your opinion, that probably should not have been pardoned.
If your details are correct, then yes. If they're actually trying to take a gun and fight him, and again, I gotta see the evidence because maybe that's how just the cops wrote it up to make them worse, to give them a bigger punishment, and that wasn't their intent. I mean,
well, as always, usually when I go into this stuff. I have a clip out now. I haven't seen this one here, but it's a minute. I want you to hear this. This is one of the Capitol Police that was there that day, and I want to get your take on this. I'll play now. This is his testimony of what happened to him. I don't know.
I was trying to push guys off of me, create some space.
Okay, say that again.
Hold on, I gotta pause you. I can't see it because
it's just if you want, I mean, it's a cop. He's in full uniform. He has his badge on. He's in court in uniform. I mean, if you need to see it, I mean, you can, but that's all you're going to see.
I see it, but the audio is off because it's running on YouTube and YouTube is delayed.
Okay, let me reset it. Okay, you ready?
Go.
I was trying to push guys off of me, create some space. All the while, I recognized the fact that there were individuals that were trying to grab a hold of my gun. I remember one of them distinctly lunging at me time and time again, trying to grab my gun. And I heard people in the crowd yelling, "Get his gun, kill him with his own gun," and words to that effect. I thought about using my weapon. I believe that there were individuals in the crowd whose intentions were to kill me. And I came to that conclusion because of the fact that separated from these other officers who are only trying to defend the Capitol, I no longer posed any type of threat, nor was I an impediment to them, going inside of the building. But yet they tortured me. They beat me. I was struck with a taser device at the base of my skull numerous times. And they continued to do so until I yelled out that I have kids. And I said that hoping to appeal to some of those individuals' humanity. And fortunately, a few did step in and intervene on my behalf.
Do you think he's describing hostages?
No, that's fucked up. But I'm surprised it's not in video because most of this shit was caught on video. But
it probably is on video. This is what happened. A lot of folks did not watch the January 6th hearings. I believe I did see him on the ground. I believe there is a video of him on the ground with that stuff happening. I'm pretty, and I see somebody in the comments said that is on video. It is on video.
Okay, then I'm with you. Like those people should be, those people should be punished.
Briefly now, so why is Trump calling them hostages though?
Well, it's a generic term for everybody. I mean, the majority of these people didn't do that, and as he said, some of them actually protected him because they weren't there to kill cops; they were there to protest an unfair election.
Now, let me ask you this, because I see in the comments, one of my viewers, Alter Ego, said he doesn't believe his story. Do you believe that cop, or you think it might be possible that he may be lying?
No, I mean, if it's on video, it's on video. Why would he be lying?
Yeah, it is.
I mean, it's not that I don't believe him. Like, if it wasn't on video, it's not that I wouldn't believe him. Is that that's a very traumatic situation. A lot of shit was going on. People under stress, imagine and hear lots of things.
Now, fair enough. And Marty on TikTok is saying, well, someone's been in jail for 3 years. Now, what he described, do you think the punishment for what he described happening to him, if somebody did some of that stuff, do you think 3 years is too long of a sentence?
No, 3 years sounds just about enough. Not too long. A little short, but
take his gun and kill him with it?
Well, no, not that, but beat up and taser, I would say, yeah. But if they actually took their gun, and did they take his gun? I mean, he was pretty vulnerable. It doesn't sound like they actually took the gun.
No, he claimed, he said, I got a child and gathered some sympathy from that. If I'm correct, one of the MAGA protesters, I've seen it on video. Some MAGA did help rescue him from the crowd. He was saved by some of the other MAGA.
Yeah. I wasn't. I don't know. Nobody actually took his gun, so I don't know. Yeah. I don't know if that was the intent of these people, or he was under a lot of stress, and I don't know. I don't want to,
Fair enough.
Situation right. I don't know too much about, but if it was just tasing and fighting, if it's tasing, I think you do realize if you tase a cop, they can open fire on you because you're trying to incapacitate them. You can get killed for doing that. And that would be just. That would be self-defense, and that would be just for the cop. I wouldn't want the cop to go to jail for that. So you're not. You don't sound like you're describing anything that would be considered as peaceful and patriotic. No, this is a mob still. I got one more. We're talking. I want you to hear this. This is one more quick clip before we move on. As much as I sympathize with them, they were still a mob, and they deserve to be punished for anything that they did that was out of control. Yeah, but they don't even have this shit on their record anymore. So it's like it never happened. Okay, if we want to talk about they spent a little extra time. They actually been to jail for 1 to 3 years, and they don't have the same punishment that felons get when they get out. They can get guns. They can do. They're regular citizens. It's as if it never happened in terms of their record. People who got marijuana charges, they got more on their criminal history than these dudes have. And I'm against that too, by the way. I think after a certain time, everybody's record should be clean, especially like at least 10 or 15 years.
They literally walked out with a clean record on day one, as if it never happened.
Some of them deserved that. Some of them didn't. Some basically got lucky with because they were part of a big mob and it was a mob thing instead of one. Yeah. He should have did it one by one.
Yeah. I want you to hear this other one real quick. Hear this up. Listen to this one. Now, the noise you're hearing is him literally watching on the monitor getting his ass beat, but I want to get to the point where he starts testifying, but he's literally watching himself get his ass beat. I think he's the one that was trapped between the doors, screaming for mercy, but I'll let you hear his testimony.
They outnumbered us 50-something to 1. So it didn't matter how many we defeated. We just had to hold on. We couldn't let anyone through, and they always had a relative, essentially an infinite number of replacements. They'd say, we need fresh patriots up here, and there would be more. So we just had to hold until someone came to help. And like I said, once I got to the front, I didn't want any more pressure on the officers behind me. So I tried to insert myself to where I could use the door frame, brace myself, and push forward so we could take back more territory. Unfortunately, that backfired. So once we lost ground, I was unable to retreat. I was crushed up against the door frame. And in my most vulnerable moments, the man in front of me took advantage and beat me in the head, ripped off my gas mask, straining my neck, skull, split my lip open, just everything he could. And at that point, I recognized that if I stayed there, then I was gonna, pass out from lack of oxygen or get dragged out into the crowd and end up like Fanon. So I called for help.
Let me ask you something. In your opinion, we're just speculating here, we don't know, but in your opinion, what do you think would have likely happened if they had actually got their hands on Mike Pence or Nancy Pelosi?
I would say they wouldn't have done anything.
You said what?
Like a dog chasing a car. It's like a dog chasing a car. They wouldn't have done anything once they caught it.
So you think they did all of this stuff to the police, but if they caught up with Nancy Pelosi or Mike Pence, they would have just did nothing?
I mean, they didn't. No, I don't think they would have. What are they gonna do? They're still Americans. They're still like.
Is he not an American? The guy here in uniform. Is he not an American?
Yeah, and they didn't kill him either. Like,
he's beating his head. They didn't kill him, but he was clearly trying to hurt the guy. He's beating the shit out of him.
I guess, but this is a mob. Imagine this was like a soccer game, and they went crazy after a soccer game and tore the place up. It'd probably been just as violent or exactly the same. I mean, we're just being a little bit harsh because of the environment, but overall, I mean, it's still a mob, and a mob.
So you're saying it's
deadly.
Yeah, but you're saying it's a mob that if broken windows smash their way in there, they're beating up police. But if they actually get a hold of their actual targets, they're going to act like a dog that caught it with the fire truck and do nothing.
Yeah, especially at least with these cops were trying to stop them. Their actual targets would have been just frozen there, and they would have caught up to them and be like, all right, now what? We're not going to actually hang these people.
Okay. They seem pretty violent to the police, you would admit, right?
Yeah, but that's like, even, let's say this wasn't what it was. Let's say this was a football game, and, and and imagine it was a football game, except one side had like 1,000 people and the other side only had 100. You would get the same results. You know what I'm saying?
I'm trying to make your example make sense. I can't do that. I don't know.
If you had a football game with 1,000 people versus 100, the 1,000 people are going to run over the 100 and probably hurt them pretty bad, even if they're not trying to hurt them, or even if their opponents. It's in like like it's like when a player hurts another player in a game. Like you don't think he's trying to kill the guy.
They're bringing the first guy. The first guy talked about he had to actually tell them he had kids to get them to back off. And yet Nancy Pelosi, the woman whose husband was beaten over the head with a hammer after this, they're going to be peaceful and do nothing to her at all.
Yeah, again, she's it's like she's not.
She's the target. She is the target.
Trying to stop them. She's just a civilian sitting there.
She is the target, MAGA. MAGA reacts. She is the target.
They're there to protest. They're there to be heard. They're not there to get her and hang her.
They're beating the hell out of cops. We're beyond protesting. They're literally trying to take an officer's gun.
And BLM did the same thing.
The same.
Like, the cops are there to stop the protest.
It's interesting you would say.
To be heard by Congress that people are voting on this shit.
It's interesting. You actually said, because you brought up BLM, right when Honest Mechanic in the comments on YouTube, horizontal, says, I bet they still bring up BLM protests. He said it and you said it at the same time. He knew you were going to do that.
They set the example. We were copying them. They set the example. They set the example for 3 years straight of how to riot and how to protest and how to be heard, and they were actually heard, and the whole country watched and heard them, and we copied their example, except, we didn't get away with it. We got in trouble.
Okay. So
I hate to say we, because I had, at that point, I was like, this is over. We're already lost. I've already given up, even though I believe the election was stolen. By January 6th, I was like, I already gave up. I was like, Trump doesn't have the people or whatever to actually figure out what happened.
He was still president on January 6th. He was still president for 2 more weeks on January 6th.
Yeah, but he couldn't get Bill Barr to do his fucking job. I think this is where we lost that situation. Right. Bill Barr gave up after 2 weeks he looked for 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks max, and he gave up and then threatened to quit. And anytime Trump tried to replace him, the new people threatened to quit. And
this Bill Barr, the one who ended up writing a book titled One Damn Thing After Another. He's describing the Trump administration. I gotta move it on though, MAGA reacts.
If you would have done a better job explaining things to everybody, and at least show us you're trying to see if this election was stolen, none of this shit would have happened. If we had it felt like they were trying to bury this under shut up and move on is the attitude I got.
I think he did a good job when he came back and said Trump's claims of election fraud are bullshit. How much more does he need to explain?
That was after 2 weeks. He only looked into them for fucking 2 weeks. If you spend 2 weeks looking into something like this, I'm not gonna fucking believe you. If you spent 2 years, like the last time with the Russia collusion, I believe the other guy because he spent 2 years looking into Trump, and I know he hated Trump. What's his name? The Mueller report.
The Mueller report. All right. Okay. I disagree as usual.
You're gonna give me 2 weeks for this?
All right. Well, if you're going to say the election is stolen, you can't just say, okay, I believe the election is stolen. Go out there and find the reason why. You're claiming it's stolen. Tell me where to look.
That's not my job. That's the cop's job. That's Bill Barr's job to look and find out what happened and at least show us you're making an effort. But that's not what we got. All we got is, accept it and move on and shut the fuck up. And if you say anything, we're going to censor you. And that was that's not the attitude now, but that was the attitude back then.
Well, you can't blame anybody because Bill Barr is somebody Trump personally appointed. So he the one that did that.
Well, yeah, because Trump was new to politics and it's like...
You can say he fucked up. You can say he fucked up. It's okay to say that.
Yeah, he fucked up. It's not even that he fucked up. He just couldn't do better. Now he's doing the opposite, and you're like, oh, he's
right. He's doing the opposite, and he almost appointed Matt Gaetz to be the top cop to replace Bill Barr. He literally was going to put Matt Gaetz in that position. That's doing better?
Yeah. At least Matt Gaetz would have spent more than 2 weeks looking into this.
Matt Gaetz is a criminal in his own damn right.
Yeah, listen, actually, a lot of people, I agree with you. Matt Gaetz is a scumbag, but a lot of people said he would have been good at the job. He's just a fucking piece of shit.
Yeah, he's a fucking piece of shit. He's a felon himself, and he would have been good at the job of top cop.
Say that all day.
All right. I got to go.
Trump ain't shit. How about that?
All right. I got to go. All right, moving on with the program. I'll give him that. Real Talk says, what's the Instagram? The Instagram is The Handsome Liberal. We're on The Handsome Liberal on Instagram as well, taking calls there. So that's where you are if you have an Instagram account. Will G says, the funny and sad part about all this is the MAGA rebels that disrespected the office the last 4 years are going to turn into Karens now. That's already happening with Elon Musk in that salute, for instance, that I've said clearly that if any liberal did that same Elon Musk salute, many of the MAGA and Republicans that are saying the liberals are delusional for what they see in that salute would be seeing the same thing the liberals are currently seeing in that salute. So, yeah, that's possible. So for you folks that are tapping the screen on TikTok, thank you. I had to reset it because we had some haters out there, and so the numbers are about half what they were. So tap the screen, get the likes up. I appreciate that. Real Talk, once again, I apologize for not responding earlier, but the Instagram is The Handsome Liberal. And by the way, Real Talk, since you did send the super chat and ask for that, let me know what your name is on there. I'll bring you up. Will G says MAGA will start to turn from rebel to hall monitor if they have any criticism. Well, if they create a hotline to report immigrants, and there are rumors that they're going to do that, an 800 number to report, if you got an illegal immigrant, if you know where one is at, dial this 800 number. Yeah, you're going to have some Karens. You're going to have some Karens. And by the way, here is a flyer on my screen. I've posted this before that apparently has been placed on some light poles and in areas in certain parts of the country. This is a real flyer. You see what it says there in bold letters, report illegal immigrants, and then it has 5 bullet points below. Okay, so report illegal immigrants in your neighborhood, at schools, at work, at church, at restaurants, and then it says there is nowhere to hide with an exclamation point below that, and then there is an actual 866 number followed by an actual ice.gov website. So if they start creating, a society of snitches, so to speak, because that's what this is, snitches, yeah, it could actually happen. It could really happen like that, where you got a bunch of MAGA Karens like that. You get a knock on the door, you're having a party, and a Karen is like, you guys got illegals in here, don't you? And they won't let you close your own damn door because they're demanding that you got illegal. You're not gonna run off and jump in the car and drive off. We're gonna surround your house till the police get here because we believe you got illegals in here. I can see that happening. I can certainly see that happening. The cop is under oath, right? And that is true in regards to whether he is telling the truth or not. He is under oath. Those cops are all under oath that were at the January 6th here. Now, one of the things I'll say is this. A lot of my MAGA side of the aisle just bought into the notion that these folks were there for a tour. They got wrongfully punished by the federal government and given these long sentences. They didn't watch the January 6th hearings. They didn't even, what the cops, some of the stuff that I'm playing on here, I bet there's a hell of a lot of MAGA that never saw that stuff. They assumed that the hearings being conducted by Nancy Pelosi and Liz Cheney were a sham. So anything from the hearings was also viewed as fruit of the poisonous tree. So those cops giving that serious, pleading testimony, they didn't even listen to that. They just discounted the whole damn hearing. And you wonder why Trump is wanting to get rid of the Department of Education. Do that, then never write this in the history books. How many of you folks think what he's saying may have some validity? That the right under President Trump would make an attempt to write out the negative events of January 6th from our history books. If Trump can get control of the Department of Education, get control of what the schools are allowed to teach, at the very least dictate how the events of January 6th took place. So that if you're reading a history book, all of a sudden it's a bunch of peaceful protesters that were no different than Black Lives Matter, and there's all sorts of pages of cars on fire and, Best Buy being robbed, and you don't see any pictures of January 6th. It's just peaceful protesters that got, railroaded by the federal government. How many of you folks think that might be possible? Now, in the comments, Chris says, is that legal? Yeah, I think the sisters or daughters of the Confederates or what? I mean, they retaught what happened during the Civil War era. Significant. I mean, everything to the point where they were saying the Civil War was not about slavery. And I mean, they've really rewrote a lot of history in terms of that stuff. People believe the party switch never happened. I've had viewers come on the show and tell me that if the Confederates had won a Civil War, they were going to immediately free black people. That's how bad the teachings have been. The teachings, it's all about pride and heritage. It ain't got nothing to do with hate. That's what they tell you. So, if you give certain people control of the narrative, they may screw up history. Yeah, that could certainly happen. Let me go back to the box. Thank you, folks that are tapping the screen on TikTok. I'm trying to check my Instagram here before we continue on. He can do anything now, says Christine BB. Hopefully, a few cooler heads prevail. Hopefully. I'm going to put emphasis on hopefully, but hopefully a few cooler heads prevail. We'll go straight to Stick, the ruler. Good evening, Stick.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good. You've heard a few things. What brings you on tonight?
Oh, man. I was trying to get in the other day right after the inauguration so I could really focus on a lot of because you were saying that normally you only have like one or two topics, but Trump keeps you in the...
Yeah, it is insane. That's why I'm asking right now. Today the topic was, there's been a hell of a lot of executive orders, and what do you have an issue with, or what do you favor, what do you think is done right? Because, I could make a show off of probably 50 of them. There's so many executive orders that he's giving me more topics than I can do on the show.
And that's true. And the thing about it is, just like the Republicans walking down the halls of Congress, and the media's coming up asking them, what does he think of January 6th? And you got all the ones that when it happened, or maybe even a couple of weeks after it happened, they were saying how it was a disgrace and those people are criminals and anything else, they're not patriots. Now they're saying, oh, well, I think it's just. I think it's okay. I think, President Trump promised on it and he delivered.
Yeah.
Now it's all about him delivering these guys that broke the law. They broke the law, period. And because they broke the law for Trump, he gave them 1,500 of them a pardon, no matter what they did.
Yeah.
Blanket.
I heard, I'm not for certain this is true, but I heard that there's an estimated 60% of Americans that were not fans of his pardon. Now, remember when Joe Biden said he wasn't going to pardon Hunter Biden and then he lied and did it? If I'm correct, there is footage out there of J.D. Vance stating that Trump was not going to pardon the very violent protesters, only some of them. Clearly, he pardoned all of them. So just like with Joe Biden lying about the pardons he gave out, apparently J.D. Vance misunderstood the pardons that Trump was going to give out.
And just by you saying that right now, that gave MAGA all the fuel that they need, just because he pardoned his son, even though he said he wasn't going to do it. That's giving them all the fuel that they need for the blanket pardons of 1,500.
1,500 for one dude, really?
Yeah, because, I mean, at the end of the day, Biden's son is not in government, is not considered an oligarch, right? But at the same time, he's a white man. And he's a rich white man. So it's going to take 1,500 of you peons, that's what we're going to call them, peons, to equal that one white man. Just being honest. Just being honest.
You think it's got race? You think race got something to do with it?
Oh no, I'm talking about in their own race. Just like they consider Trump a deity, a god, daddy, and all of this stuff. Like they look at him. I'm talking about Hunter now. They look at him as being the enemy, but one of those people too, or a spawn of one of those so-called gods. Which we don't look at Joe Biden like a god. They only look at Trump like that. We don't look at him like that. But being that that's in their head, they're gonna spread it around. They're gonna say, "Oh yeah, that little Joe Biden, the what do they call the demigod? Yeah, half God, half human." So that's what they consider Hunter Biden is, and if they can get their fleshy hands on him, oh man, it would have been.
But wait a minute, now that one of the things I've often said on the show is that they only want to go after you because you're in the way. Like once Hillary Clinton was no longer running for president, Trump may have said things about it, but they weren't really trying to prosecute her anymore. You really believe, even though President Biden, he's now in his 80s, he's never going to run again, he's never going to be competition to Trump. You think Trump still would have went after his kid anyway?
I think if Joe Biden wouldn't have stepped in, you're damn right. Wow. He would have shook his hand when he got invited at the White House the first time after he found out he won. He sat up there, he said it was a dirty game, blah, 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 whatever. Yeah. Act like it was, now that I won, I'm good. Like I ain't got to talk about you. I ain't got to do this. But guess what he did? Before when he was he's still doing rallies. Yeah. He's still doing rallies.
Yeah, he's going to be in Nevada. He's got 3 cities. He's going to Los Angeles. Well, he's going to North Carolina first. Then he's going to LA for their disaster. And then he's going to Nevada. He said to thank them for becoming a blue state. So he's going to have a rally in Nevada.
Yeah. And I get that. And that's what a president should do. Go try to do the disaster relief areas. But at the end of the day, it's nothing but a political hoax. He, even before he took office, he was trying to badmouth the Democrats, basically only in California. He was trying to downplay what actually Joe Biden and FEMA was doing in North Carolina when they got hit with the hurricane. So at the end of the day, it's all political. It's not he cares. It's just he's doing it to save face.
Now I want to ask you. This is it's on topic, I guess, a little bit of a change, but I want a change of tempo. But this is in response to one of my viewers in the comments, Bradley Smith. I want to get your take on this. His question is, why would you not like Trump? In other words, what's not to like? How do you respond to that?
Well, what's not to like about Trump? Well, the first thing that I wouldn't like about Trump is, even as a man, you make men look bad. I mean, just the whole locker room talk, grab him by the coochie, man. Like, yeah, dog, we like every man don't believe and do the same thing that he does. So you make men look horribly bad. Then on top of that, I don't like your hair. I don't like your Cheeto skin.
His hair. He's almost 80 years old. At least he has it.
I don't care. You asked the question. I'm giving you answers.
His hair.
Yeah, I don't like your hair. I don't like how the way you talk. I don't like really anything about you. I should not like your business practices from the facts of all the great professionals that look at your tax plans, that look at your tariffs. They're saying that they're all horribly bad.
Stick, how in the hell is this? Stick, how in the hell is this not the actual definition of Trump derangement syndrome? You don't like his hair? Really?
Man, hey, listen, Trump said himself, because I guess he got a bad interview, or maybe, was David Muir. He told a host on one of the shows that he was, I don't like his hair so much anymore. So if he can say it, I can say it.
I did hear that. You do win with that. He did say that.
So if he can say it, I can say it. God damn it. Like,
well, but let's be clear. I accuse you of having Trump derangement syndrome, but let's be clear. Trump does have derangement syndrome on a lot of his foes. Anytime you put a microphone in front of Trump's face, he's going to criticize somebody. I mean, the guy probably gets up to piss in the middle of the night, stubs his toe, and says, "The damn Hillary Clinton again." I mean, no matter where he's at, if you put a microphone in front of his face, he is going to insult somebody.
I think Trump is so dumb. if I tell him right now, if I had some communication with him and told him, hey man, I love everything you're doing, man, I think I can get you out there. Invite me up to DC. I guarantee you, he probably would invite me up to DC, being a black man, right? Trying to get more black supporters. And being that he's so stupid, I could thump him in the back of the head and blame it on Mike Pence. Yeah, I get that close because everybody's already said it. The billionaire that he told the submarine secrets to, he already said, all you got to do with Trump is just be nice to him.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
What he wants.
I'm gonna be honest with you, being candid. I was attempting to try to do that. I went to a Trump rally, and I wanted like look, call me on stage. Whatever. I was about 5 rows back now, being 6'6", 300 pounds, and black. I stood out. He said something. I just stood up to applaud, and he pointed at me and winked. But that was about the end of it. But I wanted to see that. I mean, I wanted to actually see if that worked. Get a guy a compliment, and all of a sudden he melts. I wanted to see if it worked.
Hey, that's what they say. He loves compliments. And that's what he does to all our old enemies. I'm gonna call them our old enemies because he's the president now, so they're not our enemies anymore. Yeah. Russia, he gave Putin big props. Xi Jinping of China gave him big props. Kim Jong-un gave him big props. Like all of these people that we don't mess with, you giving them big props, and then on top of that, you done made deals with Iran, you done made deals with probably Yemen and anybody else that we have problems with. But then at the end of the day, this is what it all boils down to, Tim, and I want you to think about this. Before Biden lost in this last election, he told you exactly what was going to happen under President Biden. There's going to be lawlessness. There's going to be this. There's going to be that. And the only reason he knew it was going to be that because he set it up that way. Everything that he said, everything right now, only thing that didn't happen was the stock market didn't crash like he wanted it to. Everybody.
So you're trying to tell me that when Biden took office, Trump literally set America up to fail?
Yes. If he lost, it wouldn't be his fault. And on top of that, the stuff that he set up to fail, Biden brought it back. So now, again, he's rubbing his hands right before he get in there. You know how you see something you want, and you want it right now, and you rubbing your hands like, this going to be real good. Yeah, I'm taking over a positive economy. I said positive. I didn't say great. I said a positive economy.
It's a robust economy. Right? Let me ask you something. This is off the topic. I want to interrupt you for a second.
And just real quick, 2 years from now, they're going to say it's going to be because of Donald Trump. Okay, go ahead, Tim.
I got Fox News on my big screen behind me. Jesse Waters is on. Here's a ticker that's at the bottom of the screen. It says Trump calls for an anti-DEI protest. What the hell do you think that could be? Not Trump, Al Sharpton, rather. Al Sharpton is calling for a DEI protest. Any idea what that might even consist of?
I don't. If it's anti-DEI, that means you're against.
Let me rewind it because when I tried to interrupt you, said hold on, and they removed the ticker. But I think it might have didn't say anti. Whatever. Don't worry about it. But it was something about Al Sharpton is calling for some type of DEI related protest. What's happening with DEI that you believe is going wrong, or do you think Al Sharpton is full of it?
Well, I think with DEI and affirmative action and all of that, it's dying on the vine, as they say. You know,
is it still necessary in 2025? Is that stuff still necessary in 2025?
Oh, hell yeah, definitely. All we got to do is look at Trump's cabinet and ask yourself, is DEI necessary?
Yeah, if corporate America looked like Trump's administration, we would all be unemployed. Shit.
And being honest, that's the flip. You know what I mean? It's kind of like they're trying to give those jobs to the people that are coming over on those work visas and different things like that, but not the ones from South America, of course, not the ones from Central America, of course, not the ones from Haiti, of course, not the ones from Africa, of course, but any white tea, Canada, Netherlands, Holland, any of those sort of kind of like Celtic or around that, region. Oh yeah, we're cool. Floodgates. You know what I mean? Yeah. But at the end of the day, that's the same jobs that they promised to the Irish back in the day, the Italians back in the day, the Germans back in the day, and any other European that came over here.
So you see some sort of racism even in immigration.
Oh yeah, I mean, when you're focused on these certain countries and you're calling certain countries before we're talking about
shithole countries,
you're calling them shitholes. Yeah. I mean, you had a comedian up there. You didn't correct the shit where he called Puerto Rico an island of trash. So, man, we've been dealing with this for years, and America was founded on racism, classism, misogyny, and anything else. Because again, when you look at the Constitution, especially the original Constitution with no amendments, the only person that had rights was a white man, the landowner. So that's the class right there. If you don't own land and you ain't white, you ain't got nothing.
And you're not a man. All right, Steve.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that is 100% true. I got to move it on, though. Thank you as always.
All right, Tim. Have a good one, man.
You too, man. You too. Appreciate you coming through. Guess what? Says TDS, Trump Derangement Syndrome, says, let's work on finding a Dem that will win in 2028. Jesus. Well, my guess is they are working on that. I mean, Trump just won a couple months ago or so. I mean, it's going to take time. I mean, when we're looking at, what is this? You're talking about January 2025. So imagine this period of time because Obama won in November of 2008. So right now would be equivalent to January of 2005. Nobody knew who Obama was back then. He was not on the radar. Was he even a senator? He might have been a senator in January of 2005, but he wasn't very strong on the radar to become president. And look what happened. You got to give it time. I mean, this is way too early in the game now I'm assuming, as I said, guess what? They are looking for a suitable candidate to lead the Democrat Party. And of course, Hakeem Jeffries, I don't know if he's a black guy, so there's a challenge in that alone. But Hakeem Jeffries is the minority leader in regards to Democrats. But I don't know if he can do it. I just don't know. I mean, Will D says, if they take away the 14th Amendment, how would that not make white people need green cards? We know they'll finagle in a way that they stay citizens. Well, historically, you're right. Historically, the country is loaded with doing things and then finding ways where it does not apply, like the voter poll tax where you can vote or not. I mean, yeah, giving away land. I mean, yeah, historically, you're probably right. Hopefully that doesn't happen where they're not talking about taking away the 14th Amendment, though. That's scary that you're even suggesting that. Hopefully that doesn't happen. The countdown has begun, says Mike Stenley. The countdown to what? In honor of Europe, is that the band? We talked about that song a few days ago. I had a live where we were on the final countdown to Trump becoming president, and I was bringing up that 80s song. Is that Europe or is that Queen? The final countdown, but yeah, you say the final countdown has begun. Final countdown to what? He's already in office now. Yes, let's get a Democrat in there so we can give our money away to other countries. Says now, let's think. If you end up purchasing Greenland, isn't that giving your money away to another country? I mean, they got to get something out of it. I mean, you're talking about getting a Democrat in there so you can give your money away to other countries. I mean, isn't that what buying Greenland is doing? Or making Canada the 51st state? They're not going to just do it for the sake of doing it. You got to pay them something. So Trump is talking about doing that as well. You just favor the way he's talking about doing it. TSA administrator was also fired for DEI. Wow. Trump's on a firing spree. Real talk, yeah. Appreciate the hat and mustache. Before we continue with the next guest, yeah, Trump is fired the head of the Coast Guard. It's only on day 2, so who knows who else is on the chopping block. But it's pretty clear He had an enemies list and went right after him. Certainly with Ambassador Bolton losing his Secret Service detail, that was clearly planned. That was a vendetta. When I spend my money, I get product. Sounds like a drug dealer, ain't it? You talking about Greenland? When I spend my money, I get product. That almost sounds like something a drug dealer, a drug user, or a drug buyer would say. In regards to sending money to the Ukraine, we are going to get product for that. Americans, we are capitalists. That's why we tell each other, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, because we don't even like doing for each other if we don't get, as you say, product. If we give, we expect something in return. We're not just helping the Ukraine out because we like helping people out. We're going to get military contracts from that, weapons contracts from that. If Ukraine maintains any of its sovereignty, they will be indebted to the U.S. who knows for how long. So we get an ally out of that and all the benefits that come along with that. Who knows what type of control we may get in the Eastern European import-export market, because the Ukrainians were exporting wheat and things like that. They had some exports going out. Well, they owe us indefinitely if we save their country. We are not doing that for free. So understand that. You know, when you say you expect product, we're getting product if we help the Ukraine defeat Russia. We're not just doing that for the sake of doing it. Not to mention, some of the product is the fact that one of our greatest adversaries is a much weaker country now. That's also, there's value in that. That we know a lot about the Russian capabilities now. We know they can we now know they cannot fight at night very well. We know their capabilities of their air force is much weaker. We have witnessed thousands of their troops slaughtered, so we know their army is much weaker. All of that is equivalent to product. That's worth money. You don't actually have to get a cash payment for something to be of value. That's weakening Russia is worth a lot of money. Looking in the comments here, Russia's economy is improved. What the fuck are you telling people? Says, I can't pronounce the name. I didn't say nothing about the economy. I'm talking about their military. And the idea that their economy is improving, that's a hard sell, because they can't, a lot of their import partners are not doing business with them. That's hard to believe that their economy would be improving in the middle of this onslaught that's going on for so long. I don't know. I'd have to look more into that. That doesn't sound like that's accurate. But we'll leave it at that. Easy 8 says you're pissing off the bots. I got bots in here. Do you think the Democrats should recruit and give Kamala time to build her brand, or someone else? Someone else. Kamala Harris was not very favorable to many Democrats to begin with. She just doesn't come across as authentic, in my opinion. Kamala Harris is not the one. I mean, listen, for the Democrats that view Trump as the worst choice in history, she would have filled the void. But if the Democrats had their own chance to make a choice, I don't think Kamala Harris would have been it. Michelle Obama is a resounding yes. If Michelle Obama wanted the job, it's hers to take. If Michelle Obama stepped up there and she could orate and speak well, which I think we know she can. You know, who's going to tell him that the job he's seeking might be one of those black jobs? You saw how she did at the DNC. To me, if Michelle Obama wanted that job to be the head of the DNC, it would literally be hers for the taking. It would literally, and she's a lot more authentic than Kamala Harris. She's a lot more well liked and respected among the Democratic Party than Kamala Harris. It would be hers for the taking if she wanted it. But she doesn't appear to want to get into that type of an environment anymore. So we'll see. We had a better chance. Who had a better chance, in my opinion, between Hillary and Kamala? Hillary Clinton is a far better commander-in-chief. In my opinion, I believe, and I know I'm going to take some flack from my beloved MAGA, but I believe that Hillary Clinton would have been a better commander-in-chief than probably Trump, definitely Biden. Because I think there's some benefits to Trump economically, but just intentionally attempting to divide your country is not helping. I know Hillary Clinton made the deplorable comment, just like Biden referred to MAGA as garbage. But they don't do it over and over and over and over again. And they don't come across as if they derive pleasure by creating division. Trump does. As I stated earlier in the program, you cannot put a microphone in front of Trump without him insulting somebody. It's like literally part of his persona. You're not going to get that from Clinton or even Biden or any of. They don't. I mean, look, they're pissed off with Trump and MAGA. They made a comment here or there, but Trump literally enjoys insulting people. So for that reason, I think that, like I said, the economics, some of his policies are not terrible. I'm not saying everything about Trump is bad, but intentionally creating division is not good. I had somebody tell me earlier today, under Biden, the whole country was about to collapse. And I responded and told him, you do understand that under Trump, we could have came close to a civil war. I don't know which one of those is better. I mean, if the country collapses economically, or if we go to, at the end of the day, if we have a really good economy, let's say he purchases Greenland and, the country starts expanding and, and everything's going well financially, but we all hate each other and we all at each other's throats, is that really a great situation? I mean, do you see that as something to brag about? So I don't know. But I definitely believe Hillary Clinton would have been significantly better than Joe Biden. Significantly better. Before I go to the next caller, my description of Trump, and here's an interesting comment. Texas says I only see one side hating. Really? What side is that? One side is calling people deplorables. The other side is calling people libtards. One side is saying that this side is racist. The other side is saying that side is socialist. You only see one side hating? Really? I think you're ignoring some of the hate. There's plenty of hate coming from both sides. You're ignoring something there to make a statement like that. But my analogy I often give about Trump, because people say that, look, mean tweets, you're voting because of your feelings. His policies are great, ignore the tweets. Some of you folks who may have tuned in before, you probably have heard what I'm about to say, but here's my analogy of Trump. Imagine a high-earning father that makes good wages. The family is living the American dream. They got the nice house. They got the white picket fence outside. They got 2 cars. The kids got all the latest, greatest toys and video games. Mom can go on a shopping spree anytime she wants. The bank account has plenty of money in it. In other words, the economics of the family is in good shape. Dad is providing well for his family. However, dad comes home from work every day. First thing he tells the wife is how fat she is looking and how much weight she's gaining and how awful the dress she's wearing makes her look. Sits down at the dinner table, whispers something in the sister's ear that's negative about the brother, then does the same thing in the brother's ear that's negative about the sister. So they're all sitting around the table. They hate each other. They all are pissed off with each other. They'd rather go to their rooms, take their dinner to their rooms, and not be around each other because nobody at the dinner table likes each other. Meanwhile, dad is sitting at the head of the table talking about, but look at this nice house. Look at our bank account. We got cars. We're doing very well. Everybody in the house hates each other, but dad can see how well the finances are. In my opinion, that's the description of vote based on your policies and ignore your feelings. You're pissing everybody off in the house, but because the finances are great, they should ignore that. I don't think that works. I don't think is there not a president that is once quoted as saying, a house divided cannot stand? There's more to life than economics, in my opinion. Anyhow, looking in the comments, though, the problem on both sides, we put lawyers in office, book smart. That goes all the way back to Thomas Jefferson and beyond. We've always done that. Let me go back to the comments. When did Trump insult half the country? Really? You're asking that, Jeanette? Chicago's a shithole. I mean, liberal cities, he's constantly insulting those. That's where most of the people live in this country. The population, the large population centers, he's always talking about Chicago, LA, New York. How many people is that? There's got to be at least a good 10, 20% of the country right there in just those 3 cities. He's always doing that. You're going to tell me that Trump did not? What do you think a libtard is? What do you think a socialist is? You don't see any of this, huh? He accused the liberals of stealing the election, tried to use the Department of Justice to have him thrown in prison, and even blamed the liberals for trying to take his life. But you don't see where he did not insult half the nation, huh? Only the Republicans. You can only see it when it happened to the Republicans. There are so many insults that have come from Trump that I can't even name them all. I mean, if you want to see the insults from Hillary Clinton deplorables or Biden calling MAGA garbage, but you're going to indicate that Trump never insulted a bunch of people, then you're kind of just blind to Trump's insults. Maybe you believe Trump and you don't believe Hillary Clinton or Biden, but there's a reason why you're going around with signs saying fuck your feelings and I could go for some mean tweets, because you're acknowledging this guy talks a lot of shit about people. But now you want to get on YouTube and feel like it doesn't happen? Let me go back to the box. The guy is known for that. Trig! Good evening. Welcome to the program. Get illegals, immigrants out. Well, he's in the process of doing that, Indy. He's trying to do that. Democrats went after John Edwards. He was a good Democrat candidate. Well, the Democrats will eat their own a lot quicker. I've said that before on the program, is that if you mistreat a female, or if you are even accused of mistreating a woman in any way, shape, or form, you are far better off being a Republican than you are a Democrat. If a woman accuses a Democratic politician, usually a male, of any impropriety, the first thing the Democrat Party does is take that woman's word as likely to be true, and they start demanding at least that Democrat politician be investigated, if not ousted. The Democrats take those claims serious. However, on the other side of the aisle, if you are a woman and you accuse a Republican politician of some impropriety, you can expect the Republicans to criticize your credibility for making the claim and circle the wagons in defense of the Republican politician. It's literally the opposite. The Democrats take the woman's word as probably likely to be true. The Republicans take the politician's word as probably likely to be true, and the woman is either on a money grab or something like that. So it's a big difference. It's a big difference. If, like I said, if you are a politician being accused of improprieties, you're way better off being a Republican. But I think there's plenty of evidence to show that. Looking in the comments, Edwards' girlfriend was pregnant when his wife was dying from cancer. That is true. That is absolutely true. That John Edwards' wife was dying of cancer while he was doing it. I think there's somebody else out there like that. I can't remember who it was, but I think there's somebody else that was doing that to their wife. I think you are forgetting MAGA does not recognize inner cities as places and black. Wait a minute, let me read this again. I think you are forgetting MAGA does not recognize inner cities as places and black and brown people as people. Yuck. They gotta most of the federal funding comes from inner cities. How could MAGA not recognize Chicago or New York or LA as a place? I mean, that's where all of the federal funding. They're not fans of those places at all. I agree with that. But they don't recognize black and brown people as people? 3/5 of a human? Is that where you're going with that? That's kind of cruel, if that is the case. You're always better off being a Republican, says Stevie D. Well, I definitely agree with you in regards to if you're accused of sexual assault, you're way better off being a Republican politician. Are you always better off being a Republican as a citizen? I don't totally agree with that, because there's so many Republican areas that are in extreme poverty. I don't see where they're better off. West Virginia, Kentucky. I mean, most of the real, true poverty is in Republican states. I don't know if that makes them better. So this is how you look at it. Because they're blue states, I don't know about Chicago, but I know LA and New York are blue. Well, Chicago is definitely, Illinois is definitely blue. I mean, no matter what state you talk about, if you get in the rural areas of any state, it's red. But the urban areas are almost always blue. Even in red states, the urban areas are almost always blue. If you look at the top 50, I've brought this up many times. If you look at the top 50 cities in America, I think only, what was it, 9? I think only 9 of them are run by Republicans. Out of the top 50 largest cities in America, I think 9 of them are run by Republicans. And I think you got to go all the way down to the 15th one before you encounter the first Republican city. And I think that's Oklahoma City. But when you think about the likes of Chicago, Houston, LA, New York, Philadelphia, DC, Detroit, they're all ran by Democrats. We can talk about the quality of how they're run, because a lot of Republicans will say, well, you see what a Democrat city is ran like. Well, show me a great ran Republican city. You don't have any in that category to even compare them to. Anytime there is a big population that has a lot of diversity within a city, they run from the Republican Party like the plague. So we can talk about the errors of the liberal ways, but it's pretty clear the Republican Party has a problem with diversity. You can't find a diverse environment that seems to think the Republicans are a worthy choice. No matter how bad their city is, they keep voting Democrat. So they're literally saying no matter how much crime we have, no matter what the economy is, no matter how fucked up it gets, I'd be damned if I vote for a Republican. They keep voting Democrat over and over again. That's something the Republican Party needs to figure out why that is. Looking in the comments, if MAGA was ready to use Dred Scott to disqualify Harris, Haley, and Ramaswamy to not run for president, yes, they are racist. And they're damn. Will you be on it? Now, that is true. They were talking about using Dred Scott to prevent Kamala Harris, Nikki Haley, and Vivek Ramaswamy from running for president. And I've covered that on the show before as well, that the minute you are running for president and you are a person of color, for some reason, people start questioning your authenticity. Obviously, Barack Obama being born in Kenya came up. When it came to Kamala Harris, they started saying she was a Jamaican and Indian. She wasn't black. When it came to Nikki Haley, they started calling her Nimrata all of a sudden, her real name. Now, Nikki Haley was well respected in the Republican Party, even part of the Trump administration, and they called her Nikki Haley. No problem, no foul. The minute she ran for president, she became Nimrata. And Vivek Ramaswamy started having similar issues himself. So there is something orbiting around people of color running for president. I just gave you all of the ones that have ran in our recent lifetime. Obama, Kamala Harris, Nikki Haley, Vivek Ramaswamy. They've all had problems with that. So it doesn't even matter what side of the aisle you're on. I mean, they're going to come and get you. She isn't black at all. She is easy Indian and Irish, 0% black. Time on my side. I love the name, but what you're saying I don't think makes any sense at all. If you're born in America, you can only be one of 5 designations. You're going to either be black, white, Native American, Hispanic, or Asian. That's it. That's it. You're going to be one of those. That's what's going to be on your birth certificate. Black, white, Native American, Asian, or Hispanic. They do not put the country of your parents on your birth certificate. Kamala Harris is born in America. They don't put Indian and Jamaican down as her race. That doesn't happen. So people, she's not black, she's Indian and Jamaican. She's born in America. She's American. She's not Indian and Jamaican. She's American. So why are people saying that? Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, or Native American. That's what they put down. Now, see in the comments, Indian is talking about brown, yellow, and all. Nobody puts that shit down. But that's all. I mean, she's black. If Kamala Harris came up missing, had a warrant for her arrest, anywhere where they needed to describe her, her description would be black. If she went and robbed a liquor store and took off running, we're chasing a 5'1", black woman, approximately 60 years old. They wouldn't get on the radio and start talking about Indian and Jamaican. She would be a black woman. Same thing with Obama. Same. Now I don't. Now even my guess is even Vivek Ramaswamy and Nikki Haley, who look far more Indian than Kamala Harris does, they would probably be black too. Just happy you do. Just happy you do tire, Scott. I don't understand what you're saying there. Anyhow, I appreciate the. I may have to wrap it up for a minute here. I do got to step away for a minute, but Kamala is Indian. Please, handsome, you should know that she's not Indian. She wasn't born in India. You don't get the designation of your parents. Kamala Harris is just as much of an American as you or I am. She was born in America. Let me say it this way. If Kamala Harris is Jamaican and Indian, that means that Baron Trump is American and Slovenian. Because Baron Trump was born to Melania, who's a Slovenian. That means he's not white. That means Baron Trump, if he's going around calling himself a white male, that's inaccurate. That means he should be calling himself a Slovenian American. I haven't heard Trump say that. Because his parent was born elsewhere too. Kamala Harris's parents were born in a different country. So was one of Baron Trump's parents. So why is he not Slovenian? And by the way, Trump himself, his dad was born in another country too. So what is Trump? Do you realize how deep down the rabbit hole this could get if you really want to classify people by the country of origin of their parents? Trump's immediate parent was born in another country, was he not? So where does this go? That only matters when it comes to people of color. Real talk, that is real talk. That is real talk. That's real talk for your ass right there. We are just people, right? You know the crazy thing is, we tell African Americans all the time, you're an American, quit doing this or quit calling yourself that or that. But all of a sudden when you run for president, they start breaking that shit back down like pronouns. I thought we're all Americans. Why is Kamala Harris fading away like Michael J. Fox's picture in Back to the Future? I thought she was an American. Every time she looks at the picture, the Indian flag is slowly coming up on the photo. That's not what she was. She's supposed to be an American. Why are you changing her designation? Will G., J.D. Vance's wife, was also getting killed by MAGA. That is true. Before the win. Yep. They were not big fans of J.D. Vance's wife as well. She took some punishment, which kind of makes me wonder if for some reason Trump developed a real serious Pennsylvania earache, would MAGA accept J.D. Vance's wife as first lady? Because that's what she would instantly become. That's what she would instantly become. Ann Coulter said she wouldn't vote for Ramaswamy because he is an Indian. Yes, I played that on the show. MAGA didn't have a problem with that. And it is crazy that she actually told him that to his face, and he too didn't have a problem with that. Listen, if we're on the same team, J.D. Vance and Ann Coulter, and she said, I'd be like, listen, I like you, but that's racist as fuck what you just said. And they would have to beat me out because I would say fuck. On her show, we cool, we got the same policies and all that, but man, what you just said was racist as fuck. And he essentially swallowed that shit like it was Pepto-Bismol. I don't know how you could let that woman say that to your face and not criticize it. But just for shits and giggles, before I wrap it up and get out of here, I think that one's worthy of entertaining because she did say some crazy shit like that.
I too am a fan of yours. I'm going to make a point of disagreeing with you so that it will be fun. You are so bright and articulate, and I guess I can call you articulate since you're not an American black. Can't say that about them. That's derogatory. And that was a great opening segment. Lots of things to talk about there. Oh, and I agreed with many, many things you said during. In fact, probably more than most other candidates when you were running for president. But I still would not have voted for you because you're an Indian. We'll get back to that.
And the whole context of it is, because I know some folks, I need to hear the context of that bullshit, but she claims that the tradition is voting for an Anglo-Saxon male or something like that. The tradition of who normally is president, which probably means that Obama and Nikki Haley and all of the other people of color wouldn't qualify for end culture either. But she explained why she said that. But that's very racist to say something like that to the man's face. I want the best person. Yeah, Indy rather. Your name is Indy. I'm not calling you Indy because we're talking about, but yeah, we want the best person, but that ain't what that's obviously not what Ann Coulter was seeking by saying she would not vote for him because he is Indian. So it is what it is. Let me try one more time. I just wanted to make sure I didn't leave one of my viewers out there who was on. I don't know what's happening with Instagram. I brought up one guest and then I tried to bring up another one, and it's flaky. Let me look in here real quick. Hang on with me, folks. By the way, tap the screen. Show your boy some love. You know what I always say on the program. If you kind of favor this dialogue, follow the program, a subscription on YouTube, if you will. Monday through Friday is when you'll find us here. So if you enjoy civilized dialogue from all sides of the aisle in a MAGA-friendly format, despite us being critical of Trump, we are MAGA-friendly. You can come on here and criticize the liberals in similar fashion without any concern of the host trying to block, ban, or censor you. So that's how the program is ran. If you like that, feel free to follow and subscribe. Black women raised white children and acted a lot better. People aren't taught that. Some white ministers speak on it in the last 10 years. Well, black women raised white children and acted a lot better, probably under fear of getting their heads chopped off. So it's a big difference. I mean, you don't have the right to speak out. You speak out, you may not be able to speak again. So maybe a little bit of a difference to that. There's a little bit of incentive to be a better person, because a lot of black women nowadays are pretty critical. But big difference now. You may not be facing the guillotine. Tim, why don't you educate these people on the fact that the first legal slave on the country was black? He also had white slaves. Well, first of all, I've never heard that before. You're telling me the first black... Let me read that again, because I'm smelling the Toro feces of this, but I'm going to read it. Tanya Neal. She says, Tim, why don't you educate these people on the fact that the first legal slave owner in this country was black? He also had white slaves. Okay, only way I can see that is, well, how does that work? Okay, I guess it's possible if some of the colonists came to this country and somebody of color that already was here captured them and put them into slavery. That's because we know there's no black person going back and forth on a ship with the Atlantic slave trade. So that would not be how it happened. If someone that was heavily melanated, like one of the Native Americans, when you're in the process of trying to take over somebody's damn country, and maybe they captured a few whites and made them slaves, maybe. I have not heard of the name of this individual. I'd love to hear the name from you if you're telling me the first slave owner was black. But here's the problem. When you say, why don't we educate the people of that? Fact is, in America, our history was taught to us so poorly, so inaccurately, that there's probably a whole lot of legitimate shit that we don't know, because they were not trying to teach us from a standpoint of accuracy. They were attempting to teach us from a standpoint of exceptionalism and white supremacy. So you're not going to tell the citizens that the first slave owner successfully ran a farm and maintained a business as a black man during an era when you're telling people that blacks are incapable of positions of leadership and managerial assignments. Only whites are capable of being leaders and managers. So you're going to admit that from history because it goes against the whole narrative that they're incapable of leading. That's why they didn't get positions like, general in the military or any chief of police or any leadership position, because they're telling people they don't have the mental fortitude to do so. So if you're going to have to tell the people, actually the first slave owner was black and he ran a farm and was running the business successfully, it goes against the whole narrative that they're inferior. So that might be one reason why people don't know, because you couldn't tell them the truth because it would expose a lot of lies. But like I said, the way our history was taught in this country was so inaccurately delivered. That has a lot to do with why people don't know. Anything about that Irish bullshit, your ancestors were indentured and they got free land and money after 5 to 7 years. Yeah, I've had a lot of folks come on the program and try to say that the Irish slaves were treated worse than the blacks. That's insane. That is insane. That is, I mean, when you just simply think about how quick the Irish were allowed to assimilate and become, whether working for a lot of Irish work for the police department, and I mean throughout the Boston and all that area over there, they were treated respectfully considerably quicker than African Americans were. It's just not even in the same universe how the Irish were treated. If you had took a black slave and started treating him like the Irish, he would have got on his knees and thanked you 1,000 times for the upgrade. He would have been like literally going to heaven. I mean, you could buy your own little house, or you can get a little piece of shit job. You could roam around the country without people. I mean, not even in the same universe, the Irish versus the black. They don't want us to know the real American history says facts only. Yeah, there's some validity to that. And I think even in 2025, with folks trying to say that African American slaves benefited by what they learned during slavery down in Florida, they're teaching it. I mean, there are people that are still trying to actively rewrite history. I don't know why. You want to get past this racism bullshit? Put all your cards on the table. Let us all be truthful with what actually happened and move on. But if you're lying about it, and people know you're lying about it, the resistance movement is going to continue, because stories will continue passing down word of mouth, and actual facts will trickle out because you did not seize on the opportunity to be truthful. You chose to lie. And that's what the country has done. Kamala's mother and father were born in India. They are Indian. That's true. But that doesn't mean she is. She was born in America. She's not Jamaican or Indian. Call it even as whites were slaves for dad longer. I don't know what that means. Glad Handsome has a platform. Thank you. Kept it simple. Keep it simple. I appreciate you tuning in. Nevertheless, I do got to step away, folks. It is time to put a little in my belly here. I appreciate we had to shut the live down, so it caused me the lives, the likes and all of that shit's all messed up. But nevertheless, I appreciate the support, you guys tuning in Monday through Fridays, when you'll always find us here. For my YouTube horizontal, I got to get you guys over it, because I know I look like I'm looking away from you at all times, but make no mistake about it, I do notice you folks here on YouTube horizontal as well. So unless you're Bill Clinton. Okay. Anyhow, I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Subscribe, follow. Have a good night. I don't know what I just hit there, but I'll make it